Ooh, ooh, hey. Look how I move. Ooh, ooh. They hate how I do it on my body. Na 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 na. Yo, why did I connect? Why did it do that? Oh yeah, that's right. Let's take that off real quick. All right, there we go. Let's connect back to here. Perfect. Perfect. How are we doing tonight? How are we doing tonight? Tonight, we are young. So let's set the world on fire. And something else. What am I looking for? I'm looking for something on here. Pretty sure it's YouTube. So we'll just keep that up there. Backslash. How are you beautiful people doing this Wednesday evening? We got Ig in the chat. Ig was the first one here. Hello, my brother. How you doing? Are we watching vids today? We are actually watching videos today. That is correct. Rev, how you doing? Rev, we got Rev in the chat. We got Shinigami in the chat. Rev says finally caught a stream. How you doing, Ig? Ab-Stract, how did the exams go? Well, considering the name of the stream was we passed the exam, I'm hoping the exam went pretty well. Let me stop. Nah, we passed though, bro. We passed. Let me make sure that is the title in case I am tripping. I could be wrong, but the title of this stream should be something along the lines of we passed. Yes, we passed the test, y'all. Let's chill. Yes, we did pass the test, Rev. Couldn't have done it without all those study nights. You guys joining me at the study nights. It was a very difficult test. Very difficult test, but you know, we got through it. And I'm happy to tell you guys that I did pass, man. It was challenging though. A lot of late nights, a lot of prep, a lot of iterations of studying and restudying, and I might need to know this because the Security Plus covers such a wide range of stuff, man. Yeah. Congrats, you just saw the title. Okay, good, guys. You just saw the title. That's what's up. Happy to know exams went well for you, Ab-Stract. Yes, appreciate you, Shinigami. Right now, I'm going to do something unique, Ab-Stract. Wait, right now, I'm going to do something unique, Ab-Stract. Drawing. Also, I've got the things to share. Intelligence here, Shinigami, how you been? Where are the balloons and cake? We actually celebrated, I want to say, a few days ago. Me and my fiance went out. We went to the aquarium, and then we went to Cheesecake. I love Cheesecake. Such a good place. We went to Cheesecake. Hey, what's good, Red? How you doing, bro? Yo, Trip, I see the title. I'm glad you passed, broski. We can argue all day about the nerd stuff, but it's always good to see another brother doing good in life. Hey, no, that's a fact, bro. That's a fact. Hey, Red, too, bro. Red, real quick. Here is my warning for you, Red. The Security Plus is not what you think it is. It is not what you think it is, my nigga. It's not. All right. Let me just try and give you what, I went through. So I get there pretty early. He lets us in. We take pictures for our headshots and stuff like that. We start taking the test. Now, Red, the first couple questions were all performance-based questions, right? The first 3 of them. Off bat, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck they're asking me. I'm skipping all this shit. Skipping all of it. I started doing the multiple choice. Now, Dion Training said the multiple choice is where you're going to build confidence to come back and answer the performance-based questions. So I start with the performance-based questions. Bro, those performance-based questions, it's the way they word the test, Red, that makes everything so difficult. They're not going to straight up ask you, what is PKI? They're not going to straight up ask you, what's an asymmetric cipher? What's an asymmetric algorithm versus a symmetric one? They're not going to ask you none of that stuff. They're not going to ask you, what's a virus? What's malware? None of that shit, bro. It's all going to be scenario. It's all going to be scenario based and having a knowledge of how these things interact and work with each other. Like, I can't even give you advice, bro, because I swear to God, nothing that I was studying was like on the test. As weird as that sounds, because I passed the test. So obviously something you studied was on the test. No, bro. Nothing that I was studying was on the test. Me passing came as a byproduct of me studying all the material. But nothing I studied, if that makes sense, nothing I studied was actually on the test. As weird as that shit sounds, Red. But I have faith in you, good brother. Let me know when you take it too. As far as I can give you some advice on performance-based questions, I guess. I had to deal with, what did I have to deal with? I had to deal with command lines. I had to deal with identifying an infected device and its origin, and if it was infected, I had to read some code. Not code. I had to tell if a device or a system was being hit with like a directory traversal attack and some other stuff. But yeah, yeah. Rev, I'm doing good, my brother, and you? I'm good, bros. The hard thing about this test is the trickery of the question. That's why I missed mine by 1 point. Oh wait, Red, you already took the Security Plus, or you took a different one, bro? Nice. Remember Shinji's Shikai. What did I miss? Hey, it was good, Sav. I was thinking about one of the character's abilities, and low-key, I want to make something good with them. LOL. I can share in Discord. Testimony time. Okay, DM me. Basically, you learn X equals Y plus Z, and then the question is about how do you apply this shit IRL. Yeah, Rev. It's that, but like, the thing is, bro, I walked out of that test, or once the test was over, I literally thought I failed. And because I thought I was failing the test while I was taking it, I started preparing, like, in myself, like, I'm going to have to take this again because I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I've answered more questions wrong than right. But that kind of also just goes to show the studying that, you know, you have to do and all that other stuff. But I really felt like I failed, bro. Trust me, bro, I know I was blindsided by the A+ when I took it. But yeah, some practice hands-on labs that would help when I take the Security Plus. Yeah. Like I said, I would definitely study VPNs and how they exactly work. Not necessarily how to set one up, just how they work as far as what you're connecting to, the IP address, what it needs to connect to, and then the best type of ways to secure using a VPN. Whether that's going to be, the best type of ways would probably be either using SHA-256, public key infrastructure, and those are going to be your asymmetric algorithm. Like, I'm just kind of spitfiring all the shit that I remember, bro. But yeah. What test are you talking about here again? We're talking about the Security Plus. The not Dion training. Dion training is where I study from. But the CompTIA Security Plus is what we're talking about. Yeah. Oh, yes. But all right, y'all, let's get into watching some videos. I feel like watching some videos tonight. Let's start off with Mr. Eon's video on Getsuga Tensho. Been meaning to watch that. Haven't had a good chance. Haven't been doing a lot of streams. Now that the test is over, guys, we can expect a lot more streams, or maybe the same amount of streams. Now that the test is over, we're starting to work on the resume. And while I'm doing the resume, we can expect a lot more streams. And more time to make videos. Let me just show y'all this too. Let me just show y'all this shit, what I've been cooking, bro. I've been cooking. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the truth behind Bleach's power system. We're going over Reiatsu versus Reiatsu. We're going over spiritual combat, Rukia versus random hollow, Ichigo versus Udio random hollow, fluctuations in power. That's going to be important. Durability, big tackling durability, spiritual beings versus non-spiritual beings versus non-spiritual attacks. We're going to cover that. Spiritual durability, got to cover that. Spiritual life force and vitality, got to cover that. How durability works for spirits, got to cover that. Spiritually aware humans, as y'all see, I'm cooking, bro. Look at this shit. As y'all see, I am cooking. I'm cooking. So that will be the next video that we watch. That'll be the next video that I'll be making. I'm going to warn you guys now. It's really going to be a yap fest. It's going to be good for newer watchers of Bleach and people who don't understand the power system. But it'll also, I guarantee, if you've been watching Bleach for a very long time, I guarantee you learn something. If you don't learn something, I guarantee what I'm bringing to the table will at least build upon the foundation that you already have in a positive way. I think I can guarantee that. If you don't learn something, what I'm presenting will at least edify you in a positive way. It'll edify you in a positive way. But yes, that's the next video. A lot of work. Well, congrats. My exams are also over, waiting for results. Hey, let's go. Hey, Sav, what exams were you taking exactly? Was it in cybersecurity? Was it in project management? Was it in IT? What were we talking about? Oh, you got to be shitting me. That video. He still didn't finish Bleach. Anyone saw Key's new video, Bleach Souls Are Tangible? He isn't being fair and honest with Bleach. Bleach Souls Are Tangible, LOL. You sure, Halo? Yeah, I seen them hit buildings. Why else would they happen if they're intangible? Those ain't souls. Looking forward to what you cook. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Yeah, not gonna lie. Like I said, it's gonna be a yap session. Like, I'm gonna try and make it entertaining, but it's really just gonna be a lot of fucking information in the video because I have a lot to say about Bleach. And I don't get to talk about the power system as much as I talk about Naruto because niggas don't have I'm not gonna turn up. I was about to turn up just now. I don't get to talk about Bleach's power system as much because so many people have incorrectly made videos on Naruto without fully understanding their power system. In fact, I'll go as far to say at times Naruto is more complex than Bleach. At times. And that's mainly because, not because the power system is, I said complex. That's not because the power system itself is really complex. It's really just because the power system itself is lacking a real lexicon of terms and things to abide by. Like the nomenclature for chakra or ninja, it's missing all that stuff. It's not defined well enough. So misinterpretations happen over here. Interpolation happens over here. Bad judgment happens over here. And so you have a lot of opinions about things because everything wasn't concretely said or fleshed out. Genjutsu is a good example, right? Let's take Genjutsu. Jiraiya says Genjutsu happens by taking control of the opponent's cranial nerves. But then we also find out that, hold up now, when you're doing an illusion, first off, Genjutsu just means illusion. Even that's kind of fucking convoluted because the intimation of illusion means something happening externally, but then no, hold up, wait, we have mental attack genjutsus. These can affect your mind and all this other stuff. So a lot of things just weren't fleshed out enough for Naruto, which is why most of my conversations have to be about fucking Naruto because it's usually Naruto versus Bleach. And I can't have a conversation with you if we don't have the same understanding about how chakra works. That's the biggest thing. I cannot have a conversation with you if we don't have an understanding of how chakra works. By the way, guys, I've been asking for that debate for weeks now. No one is going to debate me. So I'm just going to have to make a video on Genjutsu working cross-verse. I wanted it to be in a debate format so I could actually have an opposing challenger present their viewpoints and stuff like that. It's fine. I don't expect people to stand on shit that they don't believe in the first place. So I'll just have to make it into a video and that'll be that. That'll be that. Ab-Stract was about to go say was angel. Okay. What are the arresting physicals of Bleach characters when in their base forms? Is that Ursa? That is Luna Ursa. What are the resting physicals of Bleach characters when they're in their base forms? Yeah, so that's actually a funny one because it really depends on who we're talking about, right? The best thing to do for that would be to take the weakest ranking Bleach character and then whatever they have, use that as a baseline to scale the other characters from, because we know we're talking about Reiatsu whenever we're talking about Bleach characters, and we know whoever has more and stronger Reiatsu will have better stats, statistics, and everything else going forward. So, The best one I like to use is the Eterard versus Ikaku thing. Eterard versus Ikaku is a very good baseline to base pretty much every character about as strong as or stronger than Ikaku. That's a solid baseline if you want to start with. But the thing is, that's only for the Arrancar arc. I'm sorry, that's only for like the first half of the Arrancar arc. It's only for the first half. But I mean, it still works though. It still works. Let me get this out of here real quick. Actually, I'll keep that up there because sometimes I need to highlight stuff and yeah. But yeah, so the Ikaku feat of him surviving Eterard's attack, given Eterard's large ass hands hitting Ikaku's back. I think I do this all in the Toshido video. I think that comes out to around 52 kilotons of TNT, and the AP was, what was the AP? What was it? I think multi-city block level, if you're just using the contact points, but if you're not using the contact points, I think it was like either large building or city block level. Yeah. Something like that. Something like that. I'll be back studying. I'll be back going to study some more while I have the time right now. Okay, got you. Got you, Red. Take it easy, bro. Cohesion. About my exam, it's my half yearly, like I am in 12th standard. And yeah, I'm going for coaching of JEE. Oh, coaching of JEE. Nice. Good for you. Good luck on that. Or if I think you said you've already taken it. So yeah, good luck on that. You're going to be an English teacher in Japan, Sav, huh? Oh, I thought you meant JET. Never mind. I could probably debate your abstract. Your abstract. You see the existence erasure shit. I'll still man cross versus Genji. Hey yo, Rev, chill, man. I don't want no internal banging, bro. Chill. That'd be fun though. That'd be fun. I'll still man cross versus Genjutsu. That is crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah. So real quick, guys, real quick. Me and Shinigami, bro. So here's the thing. I told y'all me and Shinigami like go way, way back. I met Shinigami on Twitter. And I think like our first interaction was us like bodying some Naruto niggas. It was funny as shit. Anyways, I say all that to say, me and Shinigami was talking to Davs. Y'all know Davs. And it was the funniest shit ever. It was once I have the time, maybe another stream, I'll go over that whole thread conversation between me, Shinigami, and Davs. Because it's insanity. But the conversation was geared around truth-seeking Gorbs being existence eraser and how plausible that is. Of course, the Naruto guys are on the side that it is. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've said it's not, but my position is, I've said it's not. But no. Now I'm saying it's not. Before my position was, I don't know. Now I'm saying it's not. And that's because like when I'm challenged and then you like make me go look into it, then I'm going to have a fucking stance. Then we're going to get to the bottom. Okay, well, let's get to the bottom of this. Is this existence eraser based on the definitions of terms that we're using? Is that the case? Well, hold up. Existence eraser is defined as removing matter, not leaving anything behind, not simply reducing matter to a further state. No, we're talking about removing matter completely. That's how we're defining existence eraser? Well, okay. Have the TSOs ever removed matter without reducing it further? No, you won't find any evidence of it. You know I do my homework. You won't find any evidence of the TSOs reducing matter to... You won't find any evidence of the TSOs removing matter. You'll find it reducing matter. You will not find any evidence of the TSO removing matter. And if you do, I'll eat my words. So that was the idea behind the discussion. And then the funny thing is like, well, if the TSOs aren't existence eraser, well, Mugetsu definitely isn't. I never said Mugetsu. I don't know who you're debating. I never said Mugetsu was existence eraser. I could care less if it is. What does that do for Bleach? What does that do for Bleach? We do know that existence eraser isn't that crazy, right? We do know that, right? It's not that crazy. It's cool. It's not that crazy. Still has to land, still has to do whatever it's going to do, still has to be integrated into a power system, and it can probably only affect who we've seen it affect as far as scaling would go, because you have to argue the scaling for it. It's not that crazy when we get into it. But anyways, that was the conversation. It was funny as shit, y'all. One day we'll do that one day. All right. Jeff is the national level entrance exam in India for admission to undergraduate engineering. God damn. Undergraduate engineering, architecture, and planning programs. Shit. Hey, yo, Sav is taking that. Wow, shit. Hey, good luck, Sav. I hope it comes back successful. I hope you passed. I hope you did the best you could. Okay, so it's more like Bleach characters magnify themselves and stand with a certain magnitude, such that the thresholds function differently from something like Naruto or even JJK. So, yes, where it's different from Naruto, of course, and I'll mention this in the video, but I don't mind mentioning it now because I've already talked about it. Where it's different in Naruto, and actually, Ursa, you've actually said this today, Ursa. Where it's different from Naruto is that the ranks in Bleach actually do matter. They do have a measurable standard of power for the ranks, right? Not going to get into all of it, but that is one thing where it differs. For JJK now, what we have to understand is, like Hunter x Hunter and like Dragon Ball Z, and here's the thing, you can throw Bleach in there as well. But it also aligns more with Yu Yu Hakusho. Where when you have your energy system and when you come into your energy system within Bleach, being Reiatsu and Reiatsu, and Yu Yu Hakusho, and what they just have spirit energy, it already starts to affect your body. It already starts implicating you in a positive way. This doesn't happen when you get chakra. This doesn't happen when you're, just using or just having. That doesn't happen when you just have chakra. So what I'm saying is, while Bleach has a passive effect with their power system, things like Nen and Cursed Energy are active uses. They're both active. But the thing is, how they're active is more beneficial than Chakra. Because, I always talk about this, we have Ten, we have Ken, we have Gil, we have Ko. Right? The energy at one point. So the little trick Sakura does of explosive punches, this is a common thing in almost any energy-based anime. It is. Ko literally does the same thing. We have Ren or 10. I gotta watch Hunter x Hunter again. We have Ren or 10. Whatever one keeps the aura around your body, stops you from aging, reduces damage from things. It gives you a guard against N-based attacks, not N, I'm sorry. Whatever one makes your body like naked to Nen. I can't remember all the, words, but yeah. In Hunter x Hunter is damn near the same thing. It's damn near the same thing. I'm sorry, Hunter x Hunter. JJK is damn near the same thing. Internal banging pause, right. They amplify their base physicals. It's not like Dragon Ball either, where all of your physicals exist in basically a stamina bar called ki. Who were you talking about just now, though? Now, if we watch that Getsuga Tensho, I will die. Well, no, here's the thing. I have to watch it. We gotta watch it. It makes sense to say Bleach characters exist as a magnitude of Reiatsu. They can be disrupted by other Reiatsu, but they need to be of a certain level of pressure to even move their opponent. That's true. I don't get into that during this video. That video is going to be its own separate thing, and I have something for that too, because you're exactly right. Bleach. I was reading JJK one day. And where is it? I was reading JJK one day, and what's the boy's name? Who's the creator of JJK? Oh my god, creator of JJK is Akiyama, not Akiyama. Akitama, Gege, yeah. I was reading JJK one day, and Gege was going on about massless particles or some shit like that. It's basically the concept or the phenomena where, oh, that's right. It was in regards to Yuki's attack, infinite mass, whatever, where something has a greater mass than it appears to be, or a greater mass than what can physically be available to it. That concept, it's of course heavily used throughout anime, but it also applies in Bleach. When things or people are striking or have attacks that are smaller in physical mass, but then the thing blocking or doing the attack has greater power or output. So yes, what Ursa just said, which is, she said, they amplify their base physicals. It's not like Dragon Ball either. We're all no, not that one. Yeah, you said it makes sense to say Bleach characters exist as magnitudes of Reiatsu. I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. Then you said they can be disrupted by other Reiatsu, but they need to be of a certain level of pressure to even move. Yes, that part right there, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Because when we get to Reiatsu, we're not simply just talking about, okay, what my attack can do or how much damage it causes. How much spirit energy is behind the attack will get that effect. So it's like, all right, and then it gets kind of crazy because like, all right, so do we look for the effect of the spirit energy attack or the spirit energy based attack? How exactly would we judge it or grade it? And the answer would be, well, of course, since we don't have a barometer or like a scouter, we would have to go for the effect that their attacks have on the environment or the world. Hence why I always bring up Ichigo's varying levels of Getsuga Tensho versus the various enemies he's fought. And what makes it even more powerful is that Ichigo continuously fights stronger enemies. So his Getsuga, like, it would be cool if his Getsuga was staying the same strength in his hit. No. Ichigo's getting stronger and his opponents are getting stronger, but his Getsugas are still doing less damage, the same damage. Why is that? Reiatsu. All right. Some existence eraser are crazy. As opposed to physical bodies that have toughness, Bleach characters might best be described as energy bodies that have a certain potency in and of itself. Yes, not bad. Hey, yo, Ursa, you want to write this script with me? Hey, Ursa, you want to write this script with me? You hitting some marks. I'll give it to you. Fuck it, you're close enough. I'll give it to you. So, what I've likened the Bleach durability system to is the stamina health bar in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. If you've ever played Super Smash Bros. Brawl, you would see that it doesn't matter how much damage is necessarily done to the opponent. Until they hit a certain percentage, they will not get flung off the screen. Or if you're playing in stamina mode, you'll understand that until you hit maybe 300, you won't die. You won't disappear. You can take any damage in the game and you will not die or disappear until you hit 300. That's how I look at Bleach's vitality, right? And how the durability thing would come about is if you're not using more spirit energy than the person is passively or actively defending with, your attack has the opportunity, not your attack, I'm sorry. Your attacker has the opportunity to outright no-sell your attack. And we have examples of this. We have a lot of examples of this. Now, is this for everyone? No. This is reserved for the people with the most Reiatsu. For the people with the best Reiatsu control. I know Reiatsu control isn't a big thing in Bleach, but it's mentioned slightly. They talk about it. It's not like a huge staple in Naruto, but they talk about it. This is why Aizen is able to catch Renji's Zanpakuto with his bare hand. This is why Aizen is able to stop Ichigo's Zanpakuto with a single finger. This is why Aizen is able to catch Komomora's Kokujo Tengen Myoho with his single hand. Y'all making me get into my bag right now. I'm going to stop because this is going to be in a video. I'm going to stop. Quincy's naturally have existence eraser. Yes, but apparently that's only to hollows or Ig. Holy shit, me and Ab-Stract locked in and did Yuji and Toto. We really did, bro. That shit was so real. I think it felt like Ab-Stract was there my whole life. Hey, yo, chill. Bleach, Quincy's kill hollows. These hollows will never reach the afterlife or in hell. So y'all can't argue if this is existence eraser or not. I guess so. I would agree with that, I guess. But the thing is, Quincy's mostly do with the hollows. Hi. Hey, what's good, Karibo? How you doing, Karibo? I mean, they need to. I'm a Shinigami and I will die. The Getsuga video is good. I hope it is good. I wonder if Karibo would say the same if the video was done for Rasengan. Gay. Gotcha. Thank y'all. Rasengan actually beats people, LOL. Getsuga in story beat 2 guys. We're going to talk about it, Red. I was literally thinking about the mass today in this very context. The mass. Fill me in, Rev. Because Ichigo is handed a candy cap versus Naruto, yet he can still win by himself with less help. I'd love to. That means their ability to amplify their defenses are massive. Entire one-shot tier level amps just flying around. Every strike in that fight might be lethal for any others. Yeah. Yeah. And it's extremely interesting. And what makes Bleach, well, like what does like a mental mind fuck in my head, pardon the French, what does a mental mind fuck in my head is this. Like, I'm like, all right, bet. I'm like, okay, cool. So everything, at least for Bleach, and we're going to have that conversation of non-spiritual attacks hurting spiritual beings. After doing my research for this video, I'm on the side that it's not a thing, right? So then the mindfuck comes in, bullshit. Most verses really can't even fight Soul Reapers. Most verses. Especially if we're going by Bleach criteria. Because the level of spiritual awareness you would need to have to fight a Soul Reaper is at the very least, at first, being able to naturally see spirits. That's the first level. Being able to naturally see ghosts and spirits. Walk with me here. Anime like Naruto, although they utilize spiritual energy within their power system, spiritual energy is not the primary conduit or the primary mechanism for their things, for their attacks. It is only something, it's only part of the fuel to fuel things, right? It gets even worse when you consider the fact that spiritual attacks are a rarity in Naruto. It gets even worse when you tack on that people like Don Kato, who has the spirit transformation jutsu, cannot be injured by regular attacks. Now, his reason is because as a spirit with no substance, he transcends, his body and all this other stuff. But for Bleach, this would still mean, no, you, just because you can touch us, you would still need a spiritual attack. We get to One Piece, right? Now, I've been talking to Tay, and I swear to God, bro, I stay off of One Piece's ass out of respect for my brother. But I stay off of One Piece's ass out of respect for my twin brother. But if it wasn't for him, I would have broke Luffy ass down a long time ago. All right, Jody, Lil Jody, I would have broke Luffy down a long time ago. Anyways, we get to One Piece. There's a comical scene of someone seeing Lao Ji's spirit, I think, but that's a one-time thing. More so for comic relief, I'm thinking. One Piece characters can't see souls, right? But then we get the hockey. What is hockey? We still don't know, to be honest with you guys. We still don't know. We know hockey, at least we know observation hockey gives you the ability to sense spiritual energy. Wouldn't that also intimate, though, that hockey itself is spiritual energy? Well, I mean, they never said it. We never got confirmation of it. Okay, cool. Because I heard of a conversation between Stein, Nixos, and Eon about Zanpakuto being able to hurt Logias. I haven't gotten that far into it. Here's my take. If it is the case that hockey is not spirit energy or spiritual energy, if it's not, then I'm sorry. Unless we're talking about an actual cross battle versus equalization, hockey users cannot hurt Soul Reapers or pretty much any spiritual entity. That's number one. But if we are agreeing or yielding that hockey is a form of spirit energy, then fine, you can hurt them, but then the Zanpakutos would functionally work like armament hockey. Then allow interaction between them as well. That's where I'm at with it. Right? So yeah. Because Ichigo was handed, I love that. Luffy also had the chance to run away after each time and get new amps each time. Meanwhile, Ichigo was held back. The issue with Bleach scaling, you can actually harm them without spirituality since they are tangible, but fans overlook this fact and apply normal souls with Reiatsu bodies. Red, I've did a lot of homework on this, and you know me, man, I'm thorough. Can you show me a time? Can you actually show me who was damaged as a spirit? Using non-spiritual things, because I got smoke for everything you could say. I got smoke for everything you could probably say. They can see souls in One Piece. Lao Ji, Perona, Fujitora is blind and can see the souls of others using haki. Brook is literally a soul, and everyone sees him fly around as a soul. So yeah, here's the thing, Red. I'm already 5 steps ahead, bro. I got you. Listen. One Piece is going to fall into the trope of Naruto characters, right? One Piece characters will only see souls when a devil fruit is involved. Through the manipulation of a devil fruit, through the implication of a devil fruit, or through the insinuation of a devil fruit. And by that, we mean imposition, imposing your will or whatever onto another being. Take Big Mom, for example, stealing souls and stuff like that. One Piece characters will not naturally see souls. I'm told the Lao G thing is more for comic relief, and I'm told it only happened one time, even if it wasn't for comic relief. I don't know how reliable that would be, though. Here's the thing. Did anyone see Ace's soul when he died? No one saw Ace's soul when he died. Did anyone see who else died in front of someone in One Piece? Did anyone see Whitebeard's soul when he died? No one saw Whitebeard's soul when he died. Did anyone see all the fodder Marines' souls when they died? No one saw all their souls when they died. They can't naturally see souls. We're not going to play this game. Yeah, you said Fujitora. Fujitora. All right, cool. Let's do that. Let's look up, because I don't know if Fujitora can see souls. I've never seen him see a soul. I've never seen him see a soul. I've never looked up him looking for a soul though either. No, it is not explicitly stated that Fujitora can see souls in One Piece. Rather, his ability to perceive the world relies on his incredibly advanced observation haki. This allows him to see by sensing the presence of emotions and movements around people and objects, even inanimate ones like meteors. While some fans speculate about his ability potentially extending the souls, his demonstrated powers are focused on more conventional... Okay. Besides its advanced version, having future sight, it can also read minds and can see the entire soul of a person and can feel their emotions. Where are they getting this from, though? Yeah, Brad, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm not convinced based off that search, but like I said, I haven't seen it. If you give me a chapter, that'd be nice. They'd still have to break through their energy, though, Red. I don't think Deku needs soul powers to hit Ichigo. He just needs to consistently output high power attacks. All right, so here's the thing, right? People like Deku and even Itadori, people in their own verses that have been able to either damage or affect the soul in some form or shape or way. There might have to be some overlap, but I'm not necessarily mad at them being able to damage soul reapers. I'm not mad at it, right? They might not have to they might not have to necessarily see souls. Mind you, what I'm saying is the base level. The base level for any type of spiritual combat is can you even see these motherfuckers that you're trying to fight? Can you see them? Can you perceive them? No? Then you don't even meet criteria 1. We're not even getting to the actual AP of your spiritual attacks. Can you see them? No? You ain't got a shot. Okay, whatever. But for people that can damage the soul without seeing spirits, like actually damage them. I'm not talking about interact with them. I mean actually damage them without seeing them. It'd be a case by case scenario, but I'm not mad at them. Like I'm not mad at their method for being able to hurt a spiritual entity. It would just take some overlap. It would just take some oversight. Working through it. All right, where we at? Usopp 2 was far away, could see Luffy, Law, and Sugar Souls. Usopp 2, who was far away, could see Luffy, Law. Where are you getting this, bro? Hold up. What? No, Usopp cannot see souls, but he can see auras through his observation haki. So, Red, until they tell me that the souls are the auras, then no, bro. He can't see souls. Aura is not souls. One Piece characters don't see souls. They see apparitions, life force energy. Includes Big Mom, Fujitora. They sense voices, which basically means consciousness. What's your debunk for the telepone full thing, Shinigami? What video are we watching? We're going to be watching the Getsuga Tensho vid. I'm just chatting with the chat right now. Did we sing Getsuga? Yep. I actually get tired of the telephone pole scene because it's all related to Chad, a character who can, in fact, use spiritual energy even unconsciously. So, yeah, you can go that route of it. I tend to go the route of, number one, it didn't even... So, here's the, we have to stop playing like being able to interact is the same as being able to injure or damage. Go to the panel. Stop right now. Go to the panel and show me where the hollow was hurt, number one. After you do that, understand that the Karakura town is the Juriki, and the Juriki is the place on the planet with high spiritual density. It's a high spirit zone place. A high spirit zone place. That's all I'm going to give you. All right, let's get to this video. Because I feel like I'm going to laugh and have a good time. And... Mm-hmm. 5,000 views in 13 days. Can Naruto save Fishman Island? Oh, I haven't watched that one either. Okay. All right. I'm going to read the last few chats, then we're going to get to it. For code author will put eyes in the chokehold. I mean, let's be for a trip. To be able to see souls in Bleach is just having spiritual energy. That's no different than Brook having powers. Same thing. No, the difference is Brook relies on the devil fruit for his powers. Big Mom relies on the devil fruit for her powers. Perona relies on the devil fruit for her powers. That's the difference. Some people have it like innately and naturally, or can gain it innately or naturally. In One Piece and in Naruto, you literally have to do weird things like eat a fruit that gives you the power, or like fucking perform a whole ritual to summon people and sacrifice. You gotta do weird shit to see souls in Naruto. It's weird shit. You gotta have special eyes to interact with it. You gotta do weird shit in Naruto. Gotta do weird shit in One Piece. Yu Yu Hakusho, nope. Bleach, Nope. JJK, not really. Just gotta be aware of the boundaries of your soul. That's not really anything crazy. Be going with the wind, Shinigami. Hey, yo. All right, let's get to the video. Let me know if the volume is bad for you guys.
The proof? It's in the championship. Proof that's etched in history. Just watch.
Are you ready to stop walking on cracked concrete and start showing off floors that look like this? This is our gorgeous and durable polyaspartic finish. That is not just for your garage.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
How is the volume for everybody? How's that volume? Mic check, volume check. How we doing? How we doing? Volume check, volume check. Where we at? Don't forget to like the stream, share the video, like the stream, share the video. And is Getsuga. It's maddening because this has the same level of content as a fucking Reddit post. It's good? Bet. Let's get it. Red, I don't know if I asked you a question. I don't remember because I was yapping a lot. What I was basically saying, though, was within Naruto and within One Piece, the means by which people see souls is usually based around an existential force outside of something that they can naturally do, i.e. devil fruits, i.e. involving someone's soul with ninjutsu or some other weird method or means, right? Yeah, that's basically it. But let's get to the video.
Among the most popular shonen, one thing that is almost as synonymous with protagonists as freaky hair, angry power-ups, and badass entrances is the concept of a signature move. Goku has the Kamehameha, Naruto has the Rasengan, Luffy has these hands, and Ichigo has Getsuga Tensho. If you've been following me for a while, joining my live streams, you'd quickly realize that I'm not the biggest fan of Bleach. As I've been reading through the manga for the past few months, I've developed a lot of issues with the story, the way the characters are written / treated, and its overall execution. But I don't want to harp on all that stuff just yet. That is a different topic of conversation for a later video, once I finish reading through the 1000-Year Blood War. For now, I simply want to focus on a move that in all honesty is almost the perfect metaphor for my thoughts on Bleach as a whole. All flash and no substance. Getsuga Tensho, by all intents and purposes, feels like an attack that came out in the mid to late 2000s. To be clear, that's not a bad thing. It's a massive wave of energy emanating from Ichigo's blade that basically says, "F*** everything" in that direction. The name is badass, whether it's the Japanese or English translation. It looks impressive since it comes out as a giant crescent moon slash, but most importantly, it's fun to say, so when you really break it down, what exactly is the issue? Well, when thinking about what Getsuga Tensho is and what it tries to achieve, you quickly realize that in terms of execution, this move becomes kinda, sort of, useless as the series progresses. Yes, you heard me correctly, but it's not enough for me to tell you, so with all that out of the way, let's begin. The Getsuga Tensho can technically be traced all the way back to chapter 67 when Ichigo unlocks his Shikai for the first time. It wasn't an ability that he could necessarily use at will. Only when his back is against the wall and his resolve reaches the point where he has to kill is he capable of unleashing an attack that is, at least by this point in the story, an incomplete version of Getsuga. The first time he uses the named version of Getsuga Tensho doesn't occur until chapter 161, where he fights Byakuya and we get to see what it's really capable of, since it's the first time Captain Kuchiki takes any sort of damage. I'm sure at this
First time? First time? Hold up. Creeping limit. First time. Y'all see how I just know the chapters? Well, let's go to the color version since I know it's 97 now. It's kind of fire how I can just like go to the right chapter without even like, come on, bro. Boy, oh boy. Okay, let's see what we got here. First time. Now let's look at this. You must be able to deliver it at any time, anywhere. The killing blow. So he's remembering the feeling. His back is against the wall. Now he said his first time was against Byakuya. That looks like a Getsuga Tensho. Now, unless he's saying the first time he called it out while, or like, we'll go back to hear what he says again. But this is most certainly the first time he's used it outside of fighting with Kisuke. We're not going to play games. It one-shot Renji. Yeah, that's not a sword. That's energy. Let's make sure Eon is not making a mistake. All right, let's go back a little bit.
Chapter 160, where he is, at least by this point in the story, an incomplete version of Getsuga. The first time he uses the named version of Getsuga Tensho doesn't occur until chapter 161, where he fights.
Okay, so is he saying that the one he did against Renji was incomplete? That's probably it. We'll go with that.
Byakuya, and we get to see what it's really capable of, since it's the first time Captain Kuchiki takes any sort of damage. I'm sure at this point you're probably wondering,
Eon, Getsuga Tensho is already meeting every expectation for what a signature move should do. I mean, you just said it yourself. He hurt Byakuya, and we all know how powerful he is.
and to an extent that's true, but this is the first time we really get to see what this move is all about. Ichigo describes Getsuga as an attack that consumes spirit energy and fires a super high concentration of spiritual pressure from the tip of the blade that is magnified and discharged. In other words, it's a massive wave of spirit energy that says, "F*** everything in that direction." Right after asking Byakuya to use his Bankai, Ichigo goes for another one, and the move is literally eaten up by Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi. The next time he uses it in this fight is after he uses Bankai for the first time, and subsequently has his body taken over momentarily by his inner hollow. Byakuya takes 2 hits from a pincer attack, and when Ichigo regains control, they go for one final clash, and I will admit at this point, Ichigo did win their fight. Granted, it wasn't because he used Getsuga Tensho to put down Byakuya, more so because Byakuya decided to give up. The next time he uses it, he catches Grimmjow by surprise, since Grimmjow claims that his move wasn't in Ulquiorra's report, and I will admit that he did leave him with a scar. That being said, all it really resulted in was Grimmjow finally seeing Ichigo as somebody worth killing. The only reason Ichigo survives this encounter is because Tozen shows up to bring Grimmjow back. He does get a salty run back with a weaker Grimmjow that does make the move look impressive, since he only landed 3 hits back to back that left Grimmjow covered in blood. Following the introduction of the Hueco Mundo arc, he uses it again.
Alright, we're 5 minutes. Alright. 5 minutes in, not seeing a real problem with the move. I kind of already know where this is going to go, though. I kind of see where this is going to go, but let's just see. Let's see his problem with the move.
A sand hollow which ends up having no effect on it, and it's eventually defeated by being frozen with Rukia's Shikai. He uses it again against a Privaron Espada Dordoni who kicks it away. He attempts a second Getsuga Tensho which is also blown away, and by the time he decides to lock in and hollowfy, he seemingly one-shots Dordoni with a slash that seems to be a Getsuga Tensho, at least by the anime. At this point, Getsuga Tensho has about a 61% success rate when it comes to damaging his opponents and a 15% success rate in regards to actually defeating an opponent. Trust me when I say these values are going to drop. He ends up running into Ulquiorra and uses a full power Getsuga that Ulquiorra swats away with one hand and needs to use both hands in order to block a follow-up hollowified Getsuga that's at least 10 times more powerful. He proceeds to tell Ichigo, "Is that all you've got?" which leaves the boy dumbfounded and then puts him down like a Yonko fighting an admiral. By the way, get ready to see this face a lot, cause Ichigo is healed and gets his third round salty run back with Grimmjow. Mid-fight, Grimmjow fires a Cero at Ichigo who tries to cancel it out with a Getsuga only for it to get immediately overpowered. One zesty transformation later, and he hits Grimmjow with a hollowified Getsuga only for it to do absolutely nothing and for him to laugh it off. He doesn't really use the move again and ends up defeating Grimmjow not with a Getsuga, but with a regular slash through the chest, which is going to be a consistent theme from...
So, alright, he's going a little left field from what I thought he would, but so now the problem is Getsuga's not winning fights. Getsuga Tensho isn't supposed to be a get out of jail free card trump move. Oh, if I hit you with this, I'm going to win. Getsuga Tensho is not Spirit Gun. I don't think Kubo intended Getsuga Tensho for it to be like the Spirit Gun, where if I land the Spirit Gun, I'm going to win the fight because no one can really survive my max power. That's not what Getsuga Tensho is. It's perfectly reasonable for Ichigo, a sword fighter, to win with his sword. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong in that? Did anyone think Getsuga Tensho was supposed to be Ichigo's trump card or something like that? Let's keep going.
here on out. Another salty runback with the fanbase's favorite emo, Ulquiorra, results in two Getsuga...
Actually, let me stop and catch up before I get like overwhelmed doing chats and stuff. All right, bro is 6 for Bleach. Just know the exact chapters. Facts, bro. He brings that up, Ella. He's talking about being named. Keep watching, man. This whole video is a mistake. We just 2 minutes in and I'm already crashing out. I'm sure he uses his name version versus Kenpachi. I don't think he uses any Getsugas versus Kenpachi. Don't care, LOL. Real Rev, should I read Yuta versus Kinjaku to help with the ideas? So basically his whole argument is Ichigo wins fights, but because he doesn't always win the same way every time, it's trash. So Rev, we're going to see. What do we got? We got 10 more minutes left. I thought he was going to go in a different direction. If that's his critique, okay, sure, we'll get into it. Yuki Tengen Chosa versus Kinjaku. He is like some ADHD. I can't read that. Who needs dopamine? Yes, I am projecting LOL. Point stands. Rev, which chapters? If we go by bro's logic, then Kamehameha is useless. Naruto's Rasengan is useless. Sasuke's Amaterasu. So, like, yeah. Hey, Ig, wait, bro. Don't go too far yet, bro. Because we can do that. We can do that. And he makes excuses for those. He will be disappointed that Spirit Gun gets spammed and doesn't always win fights. Yeah. I'm actually crashing out. Kubo is just too smart for Eon. Can't read that either, Shinigami. Chill, bro. Chill. Oh shit, he mentioned Spirit Gun. Oh well. We on the same wavelength. No fucking shit. Facts. Keep up with the energy, keyboard. Rev, which chapter is for Yuki versus Kinjaku? One Piece fandom put too much stock into named attacks. Go, brr. Exactly. It was never implied to be Ichigo's ultimate move or one-shot attack. Smartest chat on YouTube. Smartest chat on YouTube by fucking far.
that get
Let me go back.
deflected. Same song and dance, Ichigo Hollow going to be a consistent theme from here on out. Another salty runback with the fanbase's favorite emo, Ulquiorra, results in 2 Getsuga Tenshos that get deflected. Same song and dance, Ichigo holifies and uses another Getsuga that is dodged by Ulquiorra, who then uses Resurrección and blitzes Ichigo with an attack that he has to block with Getsuga in order to survive. He attempts to unleash a full power Getsuga, which gets casually blocked by Ulquiorra's wing. That's the last Getsuga that we get to see in this fight, so let's move on to his quick encounter with Yami, where his first Getsuga does seemingly no damage, and even after holifying, the best his attack can do is nick Yami's neck, which I'm not gonna count because this amounted to nothing. He doesn't perform another Getsuga until he tries to off-guard Aizen, but it amounts to nothing because of Aizen's Keto. At this point, I sound like a broken record, but he holifies and uses Getsuga Tensho again just for it to do nothing. In this case, it's because Aizen blitzed him. He fights Gin Ichimaru, uses another Getsuga Tensho, and this time it makes Gin bleed, although it's kind of crazy to think that at this point in the story, the best he can do is draw a bit of blood. I will be counting this one. I also want to point out that Ichigo's dad also used the Getsuga Tensho against Aizen, which some would say it did do damage, but in all honesty that's armor, and it genuinely amounted to nothing, so I'm not counting it. After deciding...
I'm not like trying to be nitpicky or like... He called Aizen's chrysalis cocoon armor. Listen, I'm sure there's a way you could argue that it is. But no, Eon. Aizen's chrysalis cocoon is not armor.
To go train in the Hypebola Ryan chamber, Ichigo shows up to finish Aizen's egotistical power trip. He doesn't really resort to using the normal version of this dog water move until the final Getsuga Tensho. Now let me be clear, this moment right here is badass. But for all the spectacle that came from saying that he becomes Getsuga, all this move really did was weaken Aizen enough for Kisuke's
You said you what?
I didn't say anything. I said buongiorno.
Oh, buongiorno. Oh, hey lady, how are you?
Good. I'm about to step out again real quick. I need to go drop something off at the store.
Okie day, drive safe.
Thanks.
Keto to take effect.
Let's
Now,
go back a
I'm
little
sure
bit.
some would say that becomes Getsuga, all this move really did was weaken Aizen enough for Kisuke's special Keto to take effect. Now, I'm sure some would say that this right here is an example of the move being useful, but I completely disagree. On the one hand, he did weaken Aizen with it so that Urahara's Keto can work, but on the other hand, it didn't actually defeat Aizen. Between his immortality, regeneration, the special Keto, and the fact that Ichigo implies Aizen wanted to lose his powers because he was lonely or whatever, it's clear, at least to me, that while the move did manage to damage him in some way, it wasn't the true cause of his defeat. I find this frustrating because up until now we've had more instances of the move failing at this point than it succeeding, and furthermore he had to give up his powers for a move that didn't even defeat the main villain. 17 months after Aizen's defeat, Ichigo tries to regain his powers by becoming a Fullbringer. His substitute Soul Reaper badge remembers his powers, and with it, he was able to release a projectile of varying strength that has a similar sensation to a Getsuga Tensho, which he uses to defeat a grotesque pig doll. And I will count this because I really need to give it some kind of point.
Don't you want a better gaming PC that's built with the right hardware at a fair price? Build Redux has that.
Points. The second stage of his training has him fire 6 projectiles at Jackie that do nothing until his Fullbring evolves. It's not until we're near the climax of the Fullbringer arc where we get to see Ichigo fire an actual Getsuga Tensho, which Tsukishima deflects. Ichigo eventually gets his powers back, meaning that his sacrifice in the previous arc amounted to nothing, and he finally releases a Getsuga Tensho that completely wipes out the upper half of a mansion. Ichigo does immediately grab Kugo and throws him into the sky in order to let loose a full power Getsuga, but after transforming, Kugo walks away with 0 injuries. I know that he says if he hadn't absorbed Ichigo's powers then he'd be dead, but the simple fact that he has no signs of visible damage means that the move, once again, did absolutely nothing. As they fight, Ichigo says,
Because he stole Ichigo's because he stole Ichigo's powers? Took his abilities, maybe?
another Getsuga at Kugo that does nothing, and Kugo fires one right back, which actually ends up damaging Ichigo, so I will count it. The honest problem here might be Ichigo, but I digress. Both use Bankai, and instead of defeating Kugo with a Getsuga Tensho, he simply slashes him in the chest, which at this point has a higher success rate, and breaks his sword, ending the fight. For those of you that haven't been keeping track so far, we've seen about 41 total uses of the move. Out of this 41, 13 Getsugas have damaged the opponent in some meaningful way. 26 of them have been completely useless, and in 2 specific cases, he used it to save his own skin and neg-diff a mansion, which currently leaves it at a 31 to 32% success rate and an approximately 63% fail rate. So let's finish this up by talking about the 1000-Year Blood War. Within the context of the anime adaptation, Ichigo uses a Getsuga Tensho that wipes out seemingly 8 hollows, increasing his success rate up by quite a bit. I do think it was a bit overkill to use his Bankai, but I suppose Ichigo needed to pad his numbers a little bit. He uses another Getsuga to take down some random Quincy named Abern. However, like with every other character, Ichigo's small tint of success is susceptible to Kubo's writing, and we go back to the status quo of Getsuga Tensho doing absolutely nothing when it's both tanked by and later parried by Gilge. He gets captured by Gilge's ability and fails to break it even with a Getsuga Tensho. He continues to complain about Getsuga not being capable of busting him out after using it 5 more times. He uses it against Nazi Jesus, Yuhabaha, just for it to do nothing, and gets his Zanpakuto broken. Ichigo obtains his true Zanpakuto, and finally, after 422 chapters of nothing but Getsuga-ass shit shows, he finally adds a new move to his arsenal, Getsuga Jujisho. It's Getsuga Tensho, but 2 this time. He fights some lady bad guys whose names I didn't bother learning. One of them sends a lightning bolt at him, which he uses a Getsuga to block. He retaliates with a Getsuga Jujisho, and all it amounts to is severing an arm that is literally healed 8 panels later, but I'll count it nonetheless. He finds Yuhabaha, attacks with a Getsuga only for it to do nothing again, and I sit here wondering how much black ink was wasted on a move that does nothing. Ichigo undergoes a transformation that was born from the amalgamation of different races that make up his DNA. He then combines the power of a Gran Rey Cero with a Getsuga Tensho in order to blast Yuhabaha to Kingdom Come, only for it to do, and say it with me, nothing. At this point, I genuinely wonder if Ichigo is genuinely capable of pattern recognition. As we near the final climax, a group of people try to jump Yuhabaha, and Ichigo is put in a favorable position by Aizen, who alley-oops him a free shot at the bad guy, which he uses to unleash a final full power attack in order to win the final battle. Is what I would say if he used any other attack that wasn't Getsuga's shitshow. Yuhabaha comes back immediately, all seems lost, he gets Deus Ex Machina'd, and Ichigo defeats him with his most powerful move, a sword slash to the f***ing chest. I don't know what else to tell you. Getsuga Tensho sucks. It's literally all flash and 0
That part was
substance. In a world where people can reject phenomena, use perfect hypnosis, manipulate all forms of water, bring back the souls of those they've killed as a personal army, have power over names, can see all possible futures as if they were grains of sand, and so many more, it's crazy to me that the main protagonist's special ability is just a simple wave of energy that has a 35% success rate. Just to be clear, This value is specifically in regards to dealing damage. In terms of actually defeating opponents, its success rate is about 17 to 18%. And this value is technically inflated by 8 hollows which the anime threw in. If I don't include them, then Ichigo only defeated 3 opponents, those being Byakuya, Dordoni, and Pig Guy, which 2 of them I don't even want to count because in one case Byakuya let him win, and in the other case, the fucking Pig Guy didn't even lose to an actual Getsuga Tensho. But anyway, it's a success rate of 5%. The move literally fails to do anything 59 to 60% of the time, and that value goes up if I remove the 8 hollows. I can't even begin to imagine all of the black ink that was wasted on a move that ultimately does nothing and makes Ichigo look like the dumbest protagonist of the big 3 because he refuses to understand that it doesn't work. Does Getsuga Tensho actually do nothing? Technically, no. But when you have an attack that is this lackluster in comparison to every other busted-ass ability within the verse, and its success rate is literally less than 50%, it makes it less exciting to see in action. I can only imagine Kubo wanted to display the strength of his villains by making a move that did arguably have a strong start.
There you go,
Useless for the
Eon.
moment, but it's...
There you go. There you go. I was hoping he would get to this point. I was hoping he would come to that conclusion. So I think we can it's going over his head in real time, chat. Okay. So let's talk. Let's chat for a minute. So, Getsuga Tensho doesn't win fights. We kind of already went over this a little bit, right? I don't know if it's clear to you guys, but it is clear to me, at least somewhat, that Bleach is influenced by Yu Yu Hakusho, right? Kubo never intended for Getsuga Tensho to be the spirit gun of Bleach. That's not what it was for. While it might be similar as like the protagonist's move that they do that's energy based, yes, it was not intended to be like the spirit gun. It's not intended to be the common shonen trope of, oh, I do my power move, I hit you, I win. No. It's a move that Ichigo has at his disposal that he can use. Finding fault that it doesn't win fights is a you problem. It's not an Ichigo problem. It's not a Kubo problem. That's you putting your expectations on the mangaka to perform the move you want, the move the way you want it to look, the way you want it to have an effect. That's not on Getsuga Tensho. That's not on Ichigo. That's on you as the reader, right? Ichigo can win fights any damn well way he pleases to. It doesn't have to be Getsuga Tensho. Sword slices, Getsuga Tensho, a slap, a kick, it doesn't really matter how he wins fights. He wins fights. So that part is on you. Next point was Getsuga Tensho amounts to nothing. So he says this at the very end of the video. And let's just go back to hear him say it again.
See in action. Is literally luster in comparison to every other busted ass ability within the verse, and its success rate is literally less than 50%. It makes it less exciting to see in action. I can only imagine Kubo wanted to display the strength of his villains by making a move that did arguably have a strong start, seem useless for the moment, but it's like he never got the memo that he should stop doing that. This is
So here's the thing. Ichigo is consistently fighting above his pay grade. As powerful as Ichigo is, he's consistently fighting people that are stronger than him. Do we understand that? Does that make sense? This isn't One Piece. This isn't Naruto. Because here's a critique I can give about Oda, right? None of, or I'm going to say most of Oda's villains, most of them don't feel threatening enough. most of them do not feel threatening enough. Take a look at CP9. CP9 fought with almost all of CP9 fought with almost every straw hat. You know, CP9 did fight every straw hat. And none of them felt dangerous at all. You know why? Because everyone's moves, attacks, and techniques and things all landed on the CP9 agents. That's not good. If you're trying to make your villains, you know, imposing, scary, threatening. So Ichigo, as strong as we know he is, if Getsuga Tensho is having less of an effect on stronger people, this doesn't mean the move is ass. This means the villains are strong. This means Ichigo is still fighting above his pay grade. Doesn't mean the move is ass. We know the move works. It even works on stronger people. Can it beat them outright? Hell no. It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to. We know it's one of his stronger techniques. Out of everything he can do, we know it is a threatening thing, and people have called it his most dangerous technique. Ulquiorra says Getsuga Tensho is when you're at your most lethal. So we know it's there, right? What Eon is having a problem with is that all of Bleach's villains are so goddamn strong. He's not having a Getsuga Tensho problem. He's having all these villains are not getting beat by this move because they're stronger than the protagonist. Like, clearly, visibly stronger. It nicking Yami, clearly stronger. Or at least more spirit energy, or at the very least, in Ichigo's weakened state, he wasn't giving off enough spirit energy to wound Yami, if we're going to put it in context. Getsuga Tensho didn't even have that strong of a start. Well, vaporized the huge stone structure in Quincy's underground basement. One shot Renji. Hollified Getsuga's tore up Byakuya pretty bad. Scarred Grimmjow. Check DMs real quick. I got you. I'm gonna do it on my phone real quick, unless it's like something you want me to watch share. Sasuke versus Gojo is closer than you think. I bet we can definitely watch that. I got you. What was his other thing? He said it's crazy that Getsuga is Ichigo's move while others have much better moves. So, it's crazy that Getsuga Tensho is Ichigo's move when others have much better moves. This is just something that goes for all of Shonen, to be quite honest with you. There's not really, like, you take Gon, Jagen Ken, while Kilo has lightning, Nove has hide and seek, Morel has smoke, he has purple haze, or whatever the fuck his attack is. Gon has Jagen Ken. Are we serious? Itadori starts off with Divergent Fist and doesn't get anything until like the final fight. Are we serious? Naruto literally has clones and Rasengan, and he learns techniques like Sage Mode, but these aren't attacks. These are just techniques. He has clones, which everyone can do. He just has more chakra, so he can do it more, and Rasengan. And how many people has that defeated? Goku has Kamehameha. While Hit can do time stop. Guido can stop fucking time. Like, he's the main protagonist. He is Getsuga Tensho. Everyone can do something amazing, but he is Getsuga Tensho. I'm sorry. That's one trope that Kubo couldn't get away from. There's one trope he couldn't get away from. But yeah, the other critiques, honestly, Yeah, no, I'm not going to say they were like bad, but they weren't really good either, bro. They weren't really good. They weren't really good because most of all this stuff is personal. That's the issue. Most of all this stuff is personal. And it's Eon projecting what he wants the mangaka to do or how he would want him to write, how he likes it to be written and stuff like that. I don't even know what Luffy's signature move is. Does he have a signature move? Eon says it's these hands. Well, that might very well may be the truth. But yeah, the issues he is having is definitely with how strong the villains are and not Getsuga Tensho. Getsuga Tensho isn't the issue. It's how strong the villains are. And it's a problem that you can, if you go watch One Piece, you'll see 9 times out of 10 when the Straw Hats fight a new enemy, there are no stakes because none of the enemies are at an overwhelming advantage. The only time we've seen an enemy really at an overwhelming disadvantage was like Kuma when he was first introduced. Crocodile when he was first introduced. And who else? Kaido? Katakuri? And I don't even want to say overwhelming because it's not like Luffy can't hurt these people for the most part. He really couldn't hurt Kaido. He got one shot by Kaido. Yeah. But like, if you look at anyone Zoro's ever fought, Zoro's never had to have like 2 and 3 fights to beat somebody. No, Zoro rolls up and he usually beats them. Daz Bones, the samurai on Thriller Bark. Who else did he beat? Aside from Mihawk, but that's Mihawk, so yeah. Yeah, the issue seems to be by the way, Bleach is inspired by Sensei and not Yu Yu Hakusho, unless you think Tagashi got his flow stolen twice. Well, no, I'm just saying I see some similarities. I could definitely believe it's inspired by Sensei as well, but I see some similarities in Yu Yu Hakusho. Shinigami is crashing out. Eon when Ichigo Kurosaki isn't some Gary 2 Powers fantasy like Luffy. Horrible writing. Shinigami, please, I love One Piece. Don't send Scaries my way to left my ass off. Shut the fuck up. Rasengan has defeated a lot of people. Goku beat hit with Kamehameha twice, going by the anime. Who are the a lot of people that Rasengan has beat? Who are the a lot of people that the Rasengan has beat? By the way, Bleach is... Oh, yeah, I read that. Yeah, he wants it written like some power fantasy shit. He basically has childish reading comprehension like some kid at a comic book store shouting, "It's clobbering time." Kuribo name times Rasengan has worked on his own with no outside influence, no power-ups, no nothing, just on its own. Right. Besides, apparently Red and Kuribo have no comments with my more critical analysis. Ab-Stract, stay right there. But that's Mihawk. That's literally every Ichigo fight. Yeah! No, you're right. That's a fact. That is a fucking fact. If Mihawk is to Zoro... No, I'm sorry, yeah. Mihawk is to Zoro that literally at the start of the Arrancar arc, Espada's 6 and on is the Ichigo. Espada's 6 and on. Ichigo might as well have ran into another fucking 6 to 7 Mihawks. You got Grimmjow, Ulquiorra, Noitora, Baragon, Holly Stark, Aizen, Gin, Tosin. Mind you, at this point, he wasn't dancing with these people. He wasn't as strong as these people. Fathers. Kubo said Saint Seiya is the inspiration. You know they spam the same move in there too. Ah. Please scroll up to where I said 10 minutes later. I got you. Let me see, bro. Let me see. Let me go up. Oh yeah, y'all been. Oh yeah, I gotta read all this. I gotta read all this. Hold up. Give me a second. If we go by Bro's logic, okay, cool. This, yeah. Boy, will he be disappointed that Spirit Gun gets spammed and doesn't always win fights. I'm actually crashing out. Kubo is just too smart for Eon's. Yeah, I can't read that right. No, keyboard with the energy keyboard. One Piece fandom put too much stock, right? It was never implied to be Ichigo's ultimate move or one shot. Facts. No chill. Even if I'm mad at what? 205 to 208. Rasengan actually has a lot of wins in utility. Getsuga Tensho is just Rang move to help him in a fight. Exactly. Exactly. Kuribo, what's on? Utility, who the fuck is arguing about utility? Because like Naruto needs much more for it to work. And also, it's worse because Naruto needs to charge it, risk exposure, and then get hurt, which, guess what? It does happen. And Naruto has way more plot armor than Ichigo. What the fuck? No, I'm crashing out too. Rev, Eon does give Getsuga Tensho points for blocking, which I would say is utility. Join me in the crash outside of the forest. What is bro on about, lol? Does he expect every usage of a technique to kill, even if the opponent's stronger? See, what are we expecting here? I'm sorry that Kubo wants his villains to actually be threatening. I apologize for that. I apologize that he can't just roll up on people and beat them with Getsuga Tensho. I'm sorry. It happened with Dordoni, I think, debatably. It happened with Renji, for sure. But I'm sorry. That's not going to be his get out of jail free card. He's going to have to get stronger and actually fight. He's going to have to do what the power system demands. That's a wild expectation, bro. Bleach is a media literacy test for everyone. I agree. And Ian is breaking down to reaching last place. Bro lost me. Now I know this isn't rage bait because I used to tune into his streams, but damn, this video has to be rage bait. Yeah. If this is rage bait, it's working. The same should be done for Luffy, though, to be honest. I can be way more critical than Eon if he had if I had AI amp on top of whatever writer he wants. Rasengan and Kamehameha also have various forms. Yes. 10 minutes later, still wondering why Getsuga Tensho is useless. Does Eon not know that higher spiritual pressure can neg attacks with low spiritual pressure? Does this concept reach? See, and that's the thing. Like, hey, Ig, bro, that's why the video I'm doing is going to be important. My video literally encapsulates why you think Getsuga Tensho is useless. Because you don't understand the power system. But beyond that, you're projecting your own ideals on how you think a manga or anime should be portrayed, and you're putting that on Bleach. He's taking what he would like to see and saying, since it's not in here, this is trash. It's not good. It's useless. It's not working. You can count the win rate, the percentage, its hits, and you can count all that shit all day. It doesn't stop the move from being effective when it's done to the fucking right people. I'm sorry Ichigo doesn't get to fight people on his level all day. I'm sorry Getsuga Tensho can't look good killing 100 fishmen. I apologize for it. I don't know what you want. I'm really trying to think, who is Luffy's hardest fight pre-time skip? Who's his hardest fight pre-time skip, and how much did he actually struggle to actually beat them? And why was it that he couldn't beat them? Because I guarantee you it wasn't they outstatted the hell out of Luffy like most of Ichigo's fights go. I guarantee it wasn't that. When he was fighting Crocodile, the only difference was Crocodile was a Logia. That was it. Other than that, Luffy's attacks would hurt. He was as fast as Crocodile. He could react to Crocodile. Crocodile was just a Logia, and he had a poison claw. But that's all he had to deal with. Let's go to Enel. He was literally Enel's natural counter. He could hurt Enel. He could react to Enel for the most part. I'm not seeing Luffy struggle here. Not seeing Luffy struggle here. Not really. What was his next big fight? Marineford, but he didn't really have any one-on-one fights in Marineford. Oh yeah, Bellamy. He one-shot Bellamy. You see, Luffy is fighting people that are either on his level or below it. So you're always going to look good when you're fighting people on your level or below your level. You're always going to look good. Hey, person of interest. How was church? Nice.
How long you been alive?
I think it started like 7:30, so like an hour or 2 hours almost. Yeah, 2 hours almost.
Hey, chat.
They can't
No.
see you. Oh. Yeah, you're always going to look good when you're fighting people on your level or below. Ichigo has only fought people on his level. Let's stop. Let's stop. Pause. When has Ichigo... Let's pause again. Let's pause that pause. Let's start here. Ichigo has never fought with his full power until the 1,000 Blood War. Ichigo didn't have a real Zanpakuto until the 1,000 Year Blood War. Are we understanding? It's one thing to call the move ass, but understand how we got here if you're going to do that. His first fight, real fight, Renji. Right? Renji suppressed, but he still hasn't beat in overall like Reiatsu at the time. Ichigo's life gets threatened. His spiritual pressure starts to rise. He would technically have beat Renji there, but he loses because Byakuya is there. Cool. We move on. He gets trained by Kisuke, goes to the Soul Society. His first fight is with Ikkaku. And you could call it highly debatable, but you could pretty much give the edge to Ichigo. Cool. Second fight, Renji. Now Renji doesn't have Gentei Kaijo on. He's 5 times stronger than he was previously. Renji's overwhelming him. Ichigo pulls that dog out of him. He gets the feeling. One-shots him with the Getsuga. One-shots him with the Getsuga. Next fight, Kenpachi. Kenpachi being all types of generous in the fight, letting Ichigo get a free hit. Not chasing Ichigo as fast as he could to kill him. Letting Ichigo, I don't want to say heal, but, well, no, he thought it was dead, so we're not going to give him that one. But, yeah. In all these situations, Ichigo was never, well, I don't want to say never, right? We can definitely say he was nerfed, though. And never initially more powerful than the person he was fighting. Never initially more powerful. Not than Renji, not than Kenpachi, not than Byakuya, not than Grimmjow, not than Ulquiorra, not than Noitora, not than Aizen. Yeah. The only person he was probably stronger than first encounter was Dordoni, but he was holding back. If he killed him with a casual slash, then Getsuga Tensho would no doubt be overkill. What's the point? Candace Catnip, Nami as a character. Yeah, he's ignoring him damaging Yuha. I'm happy I didn't watch this video before this, LOL. I probably would have disliked and left a comment, wasting my time. Yeah.
What did he say? What did that person just say?
Oh, he was talking about the video that we were watching together.
He said he's glad he didn't watch it because
He would have wasted his time and left a comment, basically.
over the comment because he doesn't agree.
Yeah.
Thought he was talking smack.
All right, let me go ahead. All right, I passed that. Again, Trip, that Sand Hollow wasn't stronger than Ichigo. It did absolutely nothing. Okay, we do realize. So here's some logic for you, Red. If attacks in One Piece are going to go through sand, like Crocodile, right? Like, if Luffy's Gum Gum Gatlins are going to go through Crocodile and he's sand, why wouldn't a spiritual attack go through a sand hollow? What? Did you want some? Becca, I almost killed that stuff. Like, I tried to stop. Are you going to eat it? Are you going to finish it? I can have it? Okay. Stop eating it, please. That's mine.
You ate all of it.
There's some in there.
Did you know this was fresh? I dumped out the soggy.
Oh, did you? No, I didn't notice.
Because it's harder.
Ah.
It's more edible.
I didn't-
Was too soft.
I did
I'm
not
sorry.
know.
Continue.
If regular physical attacks are going to go through a sand being, why would we expect a sand hollow to be any different? I'm sorry. Is it because he's a sand hollow? Is it because it's spiritual sand that we think it should have worked? That's dumb. That's like saying, oh, Luffy's Gum Gum Gatling did nothing to Crocodile. Well, I mean, obviously, if you give Luffy the means, it'll do something to Crocodile. I just don't know why we're doing this. Anyways, Eon counted every Getsuga Tensho, but you want limit the version of Rasengan only for Rasengan to still be better. You have a debate with the Rasen Shuriken being better. Definitely not the Rasengan, though, no. You're Red, what you got for when I asked why does Luffy just punch GG all his opponents first chance he gets? Bro, Ichigo was limited for the longest time, unlike Naruto, and the only reason Naruto has it working half the time is because his utility is better than Ichigo's, like more options for attacks. Shinigami, this is why I'm not answering dumb shit. Luffy literally does that, but since you're salty about Bleach criticism, you just want to rage bait others to get upset. 2 hours, I don't give a fuck. Goku grinding on the beam with a Kamehameha is on a different level. That was very stylish. It was very cool. Goku grinding on that Kefla beam was very cool. Laugh my ass off, Crocodile. Kuma probably. Oh, and also, that sand hollow was made out of sand. Nobody could do anything. Well, didn't he lose the Kuma? He did lose the... Well, I mean, everyone lost the Kuma that day, but yeah. He just so happened to be the perfect counter to Enel because Oda hates stakes and tension. Boy, oh boy. Pacifista. Luffy lost the Crocodile twice and didn't struggle. Yeah, sure. But you're missing the point. It's not the fact that he lost the Crocodile. The thing is this. When presented in a way that would equal their stats, because that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about Ichigo. When we're talking about Bleach, the reason Getsuga Tensho, like I said, seems to always fail or seems useless is because he's fighting people way above his pay grade. Luffy is hardly in that position. The only people you could really argue is Kaido, Katakuri. That is it. No. Well, maybe Big Mom. I guess I guess if you want to say Big Mom, yes, that's true. Because at the time, we'll give it to Big Mom.
When he fought Smoker at the time.
He couldn't hit him. It wasn't a stat thing. It was literally a power system. If he knew hockey, he could hit him. Right? I'm not counting things that Luffy like could fix later on. I'm saying like, hey, when you ran into this person, did they outstat you heavily to the point where you couldn't hurt them? No, they didn't. He just couldn't hit them physically because they were made of, smoke, fire, whatever, lava, sand. Luffy's not ever having a problem where he's fighting monsters, like people that are like that until Kaido, Big Mom, and Katakuri. But even with the Katakuri one, I'll give him the Katakuri one because doesn't he run during that fight too? Actually,
Multiple times.
he runs well. Okay, I'll give him Katakuri. I'll give him Katakuri. But literally all of Ichigo's fights, he's fighting above his pay grade. He's fighting people way stronger than him. Aside from Kyuuge. Kyuuge wasn't way stronger than him, but this is after he got his Bankai. Yeah, anyways. Most of his nights, thank you, love. Ichigo has rougher nights, is what I'll basically standard. So he is by Eon standards. Do you see how bad this is with critical lens? Hello? Bro is Big Matt, lol. It's just anime, man. Relax. Not you trip. I got you. Shinigami be getting passionate. Luffy and Naruto do get to take on armies. Luffy and Naruto do... Alright, you said they get to take on armies. We're not going to play games like any one of those no-named people are relevant at all. We're not going to do that. That's the last... See, I'd rather have Ichigo fight 5 Bambis than 1 army. I'd rather have Ichigo fight Kyuuge than 1 army. Kyogre means more than one army. One Kyogre OP means more than the army. 5 Bambis means more than that whole fucking alliance of ninja. Yeah. Fighting armies isn't the flex that you think it is unless the army is actually worth some shit. For example, Aizen beating all the captains there means way, way more than Madara beating no-name fodders at the 4th Great Ninja Alliance. Why? Because the people Aizen are fighting have verifiable feats and scaling to dictate why they'd be a threat. Madara is literally just fighting no-name fodders with nothing to their name. No background, just faces. No background, just faces. See, Madara can't pull up on the Gote 13 and do that. It'll never go down. It'll never happen like that. Luffy can't pull up on the lieutenants and do that. Well, I'm sorry. He probably could do... He can't pull up on the captains and do that, though. He can't pull up on the captains in... Well, no. If we're just talking about the Fishman Island thing, he can't do that in Bleach to nobody, first off. I think your headphones are connecting to mine.
No, it's connected to my phone.
Okay. Yeah, your thing's about to die. You never charged them. I'm going to take those back. Yeah, you don't use them.
I use them for exercise, and I have exercise.
They're on 7%.
I know.
Yeah.
When leave me alone.
Smoker, Kuzan, Kizaru, and Sentomaru were smoking, bro, but he always got away through luck. So yeah, Smoker, him and Smoker would have probably been the same stats. That doesn't count. Kuzan definitely outscaled him, outstatted him, outhacked him. That counts. See, but we're talking about, we have to mention the admirals. Think about that. We have to mention the top military powers in One Piece to say, oh God, Luffy got overwhelmed. We're talking about fodder people on Aizen's army for Ichigo. Grimmjow. Mind you, I'm using fodder loosely in the grand scheme of things. Listen, Grimmjow's not fodder, Ulquiorra's not fodder, Naruto's not fodder. In the grand scheme of things, by 1,000-Year Blood War, fodder. They're not doing shit to Ichibei. They're not doing shit to Yuha. They're not doing shit to the Schutzstaffel. They're not doing shit to Senjumaru. Fodder. We have to talk about the top military might in One Piece for Luffy to be verifiably outstatted. Meanwhile, Ichigo is taking on peons in the army. Loosely, I'm saying that. I do not believe this in context. I'm using context, right? They're not fodder, but in the grand scheme of things, they're definitely not top fucking 10 in the verse. In One Piece, those guys are definitely top 10 in the verse, probably. You can probably debate Kuzan. I'm sorry, you can probably debate not Kuzan. Barcelino. Kizaru. Put True Shikai Ichigo in the beginning of the story, and he is soloing, not gonna lie, he would be like Saitama. And so, like, here's the thing. My mans was fighting without a Zanpakuto the whole time. He created his own goddamn Zanpakuto from Reishi. And his powers was being suppressed by the spirit, by the Soul Reaper badge. And his powers were fighting for control of his center the entire fucking time, nerfing him even further. He didn't even have a Zanpakuto. His powers couldn't even flow out of his body properly, and he was still bodying people and getting dubs. By the way, Ichigo has the most wins out of any shonen protagonist. 101 wins, at least. Kribo and Bleach isn't some generic shonen manga. Seriously, why were the fishermen enslaved then the made other slaves? Just don't include that. No need to that. Let him rant. I'm big mad because the critical thought behind this whole thing is worthy of a Bleach Reddit meme. It's enemy row. It wasn't a personal attack. Just saying, not my fault. I possess better critical thinking. Hey, yo, shit, he got me going off. True Shikai and Bankai Ichigo would also get stronger if he was put in the beginning of this story because he would have more time using his true power. Exactly. Oh man, y'all said it's a battle of Reiatsu. The stand hollow being sand shouldn't matter. Just get strong or more proof. Logius, never mind. Yeah, so what you're doing, you're ignoring the properties of that specific hollow to undermine the argument of Reiatsu versus Reiatsu. Not going to work over here because we all know how it works over here. So nice try, Red, but sorry, not going to work over here. Eon was thinking critically about the move. If the power system creates the problem, then the issue is just foundational and not that the issue is non-existent. So here's the thing. It's not a problem with the power system. It's not a problem with the power system. It's not a problem with Kubo. It's not a problem with Ichigo or Getsuga Tensho. Like, it's not a problem at all, guys. Kubo simply had Ichigo fight people that are way stronger than him to build him up. To make his villains worth a damn. Because Usopp surviving attacks from Jabra and Chopper being able to fight Kumodiri, I think Kumodori, whatever his name is, that's embarrassing to me. And this isn't just to get on One Piece because Eon talked about Bleach. No, I've always said this. I told this to Tay. I said, hey, bro, when I do Bleach versus One Piece, I'm going to have to factor in the fact that the Straw Hats are verifiably hurting the CP9 agents. Unless they're using like Iron Body. But they're not only hurting them, they're keeping up with them. They're a threat. They're dangerous. And it's an actual fight. I'm not seeing an overwhelming advantage in the CP9 agents. They're not threatening to me. They're not threatening to me. That's how I saw it, at least. Like when Zoro's fighting Daz Bones, he doesn't need to do more than just really lock in and fucking focus. He puts his hand down the back and then he one-shots him. Okay, cool. There's Daz Bones. When he's fighting the Cloud guy and Skypiea, again, not threatening to me. Not a problem. These aren't people he has to encounter again. These aren't people that he needs to actually train for. Luffy fighting Enel. Literally, he could hurt Enel. All Enel had over Ichigo was the fact that, well, no, he didn't even have that. He was a Logia over him because Luffy could interact with him. Like I said, the only time Luffy has been up against an oppressive force were if they were Yonkos, literally strongest people in the verse, or Admirals, literally the strongest people in the verse. Other than that, stat-wise, he's in everyone's ballpark range. Ichigo was not in Ulquiorra's ballpark range. Ichigo, at the time, was not in Noitora's. Like, if Noitora had showed up to the world of the living instead of Grimmjow, Ichigo dies that fight. He dies. We do understand this, right? If Kenpachi wasn't merciful, Ichigo dies that fight. Consistently taking on more challenging things than the next, every arc. The only time he really got a break was Ginjo, who had to steal his powers to even compete with him. Kyuuge Oppi, but this was after Ichigo's penultimate of getting all his, things in order. Okay, cool. I got my Fullbringer powers. I got my Shinigami powers. I got my Hollow powers. Cool. But that's still one away from his ultimate form, right? So the only two real fights, his only real 3 fights where they like either weren't weaker than him or like way, way stronger. Ikkaku, Kyuuge Oppi, and Ginjo, and Kugo Ginjo. Ichigo's had 3 fights where his opponents weren't way, way stronger than him or way, way weaker than him. Those are literally all of Luffy's and a majority of Naruto's. Naruto's never been heavily outstatted by anybody, I don't think. Who heavily outstatted Naruto? Not Pain. Not Kakuzu. Not... actually, Jubito did. Jubito did. We'll give you Jubito. We'll give you Jubito. The context is that the Sand Hollow's true body kept regenerating because the sands of Wakamundo are reishi that Hollow's feed on planets. Hey, Rev, you don't gotta explain it to Red, bro. We don't gotta explain ourselves. Let him think that Soul Reapers can't hurt Logias. Let him think that. Even though Logias have souls, and even though Armament Haki is more than likely spiritual energy, and all Bleach characters use it, let him keep thinking that. If he was thinking critically, why does he not think about, let's say, for example, the circumstances Ichigo is in, whatever else? He wasn't being critical in any way, shape, or form. The craziest part is that Dragon Ball characters are almost made of ki. Their resting physicals can be any value they want at any time, given proper control. Yeah, I think so. Let alone how the title is. So Bleach characters kind of work similarly. Yes, that's correct. But yeah, totally because I can't take criticism with my favorite place of fiction. I'm confused. Magellan wasn't smoking Luffy boots. Luffy didn't get completely... Yes, thank you, Red. That's a good one. That's a good one. No. That's a good one. Magellan is a good one. Magellan is a good one. Actually, I'm going to have to go back to that. Because Magellan's biggest thing... Magellan wasn't fast or strong either. It was really just his poison. So, I mean, I guess because it wasn't in the pure black ink panel, so it doesn't apply here, lol. Driscoll, Bursey, soloed thousands of Shinigami on his own. It's not a flex. Exactly. Driscoll literally killed 100 Shinigami the last time he was there, and I think he said he killed 100 more this time he was there. It's not a flex to beat on bums. It's not cool. Exactly right. Oda can't write stakes like Kubo and Kishimoto can. Driscoll didn't solo no thousands. He killed like 30 people according to himself, at most 100 people. Send it to Ab. What'd she say? That's cool, Shinigami. Just don't read One Piece if you feel that way. One Piece is dog shit and Bleach is the best. Ichigo. Madara was beating armies in the Kage. Madara will pull up on the goatee the exact same way. Yeah, so the point of that, though, was Madara beating those fodder is not Madara beating the Gote 13. Madara beating the 5 Kage is a little bit better. It's a little bit better. But then when we're actually getting to the scaling and breakdown of Naruto, even that's not a crazy feat. That's not a crazy feat. Mind you, there are videos on Gojo versus the 5 Kage. You know the people use the 5 Kage as like test run videos? You know that, right? The 5 Kage aren't anything special to get through at all. They're very basic, very simple. You have one person that hits hard. You have one person that's fast. You have 2 people that kind of use like crowd control. And then one person that can use like atomization. So Onoki's your biggest threat. Tsunade's your healer. Then you have sand and water and basically lava to do. It's not crazy though. It's nothing people can't take, bro. You know what video you won't see? You know what video you won't see? Sukuna versus 5 captains. Any 5 captains. You will never see that video. You'll only see it on the receiving end, and it's bad for Sukuna. You'll never see Sukuna versus 5 captains. You just won't. Guarantee that. Damn, I should continue reading One Piece if Red doesn't like me criticizing it, lol. Unohana butchered thousands, Mayuri thousands, Aizen thousands, Kyoge, it's all irrelevant. Grimmjow isn't fodder at all. Even in the grand scheme, Kubo literally said Gin can kill Askin, lol. Yeah, what is there something wrong with Gin being able to kill? Is there something wrong with the guy that killed Aizen's second strongest or third strongest form being able to kill Askin? Is there something wrong with that? What's wrong with Gin being able to kill Askin? There's nothing wrong with that. Ab-Stract, could we live collab on Stone Raiders versus the Commanders before I make the video? I want your opinion on the topic before I make the video, just in case I missed something since you are the Bleach guy. Yes, we can, Ig. Yes, we can. Now that my test is done, bro, we can definitely get that done. What day is it today? I should be free Friday. Gideon was shooting sweet tier or above, so yeah, he kills asking. Yeah, exactly. Kid Kinpachi packed up that fraud Unohana. Ichigo would probably also have the 5 times nerf in the world of living. Debatable. Debatable. You could argue it with his bags, yeah. Take a look at your third recommended video on the right. 1, 2. Back on Clorox. That's hilarious. I mean, Hisagi survived Tosin's attacks. Okay, so Red, you're showing your ignorance, bro. You're saying things, and you're kind of showing your ignorance. Are we surprised that people can survive other people's attacks in Bleach? Is this a surprise to us? Because Momo survived being stabbed by Aizen. Do we know why that happened? Momo also survived being impaled by Toshiro while he was bloodlusted. Do we know why that happened? Do we know why she survived that? If you don't think they're threatening, that's fine. That's a personal take. I feel the same for other series as well. Well, no. See, here's the thing. I not only don't think they're threatening, I think the things that I'm saying actually have weight behind why they're not threatening. If we're talking about CP9. Getsuga Tensho being useless is a viewpoint you could look at it as, right? But then when you start to dig and do like a perusal behind that statement, you'll find that, well, the move itself isn't really a useless move. What's happening is Ichigo is continuously fighting people stronger than him. When we go to One Piece, the CP9 agents are not depicted as threatening because they haven't done anything. They haven't tanked attacks. They're not like drastically, like, mind you, when they're at Galley Law Mansion and they're beating on them, the excuse is, oh, Luffy, oh, I didn't eat that day. Zoro, I was tired. There were like a lot of excuses. But then when they go to Water 7. Then when they go to like the Gates of Justice, everyone is now suddenly on par with the CP9 agents. Everyone. Chopper, Usopp, basically. Zoro and Usopp can have a comedy routine mid-fight, not get injured, not get killed, not get hurt, and still be okay enough to fight Jabra and Kaku. Not threatening. Not dangerous. Not threatening, not dangerous. One Piece is funny. I like reading it. It's a good anime. It's a good manga. As far as its villains, though, not threatening whatsoever. Not all. No stakes in my. I haven't seen it. So that would be the difference between both of our viewpoints. What I'm saying is, can you find me a reason CP9 is like depicted as being threatening? Can you find that for me? Because I've already explained why Getsuga Tensho is ass. I've debunked that. The villains are too strong. And you're trying to project your own feelings onto the manga. At least in the case of Eon. Not saying you read. But I've already debunked that. How strong are common Shinigami? Oh, common Shinigami are fodder. I don't even consider Shinigami that aren't third rank or higher. Common Shinigami are shit. I ain't mad about low key you are. Low key you are. Not going to acknowledge Luffy just so happens to magically be the perfect candidate. You know, you were sending back-to-back messages. I'm not doing that. I'm at work chilling. Ichigo is so lucky all his strong opponents decide to spare him. Who decided to spare him? Kenpachi, technically, yes. He beat Byakuya. beat Ikaku, beat Renji. Grimmjow got interfered by Kaname. Ulquiorra actually killed him, so you're wrong about that. Noitora and whatchamacallit attacked him right after his fight with Grimmjow. Yeah. Not a lot of sparing. It was really just Kenpachi and I think like one other. What's wrong with Luffy being a counter to Enel? What's the issue? Well, so the dichotomy that I'm painting is that when we're talking about Ichigo and his move being lackluster, we find out it's because all his opponents heavily outstat him due to being more powerful via Reiatsu. When we go to Luffy, none of his opponents until he gets to either Yonko or Admirals, literally like the strongest fucking people in the world, none of his opponents heavily outstat him. So, of course, you're going to look good fighting people at your level or below. Just like how Ichigo looked good fighting Ikaku. Just like how Ichigo looked good fighting Kilge and beating Dorodoni. He looked good in those because he's fighting people at his level or below. Luffy doesn't have a lot of that. He only really gets it when he gets into the new world, and it's really only when he fights Katakuri and Kaido, because he doesn't really fight Big Mom. He doesn't really fight Big Mom. That's what I'm saying. And then it gets even worse for the Yonko crews because Sanji and Zoro, they might fight, but they never really struggle. Not how Ichigo struggles, not how Chad struggles, not how Uryu struggles. Mind you, Chad got a power up, beat Gantenban, and then got fucking one shot by Noritora. Just to show how powerful Noritora is. He one shot Chad. I don't know a single time Zoro or Sanji was one shotted by a side character to prove a point. Noritora is not Aizen. Noritora is not fucking Gin. These are the henchmen's side characters one-shotting people. Just to bolster how powerful they are. Just to raise the tension, the stakes, and their threat level a little bit more. Ulquiorra showed up to Katakura town, was not impressed or scared or intimidated by Kisuke and Yoruichi, deflected Benihime with one hand, and talked shit while he was leaving. He talked shit while he was leaving. But yeah, Magellan was a good point. But then again, like I said, Magellan, there was not a stat issue with Magellan either. It was really just his poison. You left him to die and somehow got his own power. Guess Oda needs to write stakes and tension like that. Have your powers taken away 4 times for no reason and get them back out of nowhere. What do you mean out of nowhere? That's kind of weird. Out of nowhere is kind of a wild statement. Every time Ichigo got his powers back, it was because of a legitimate reason. He either trained to get them back, they were given to him back via some other people, or, he trained to get them back, yeah. Ab-Stract, I notified you on my Bleach scale. It's pretty long, so just skim it when you're bored. The gist of it is that I assume the common Shinigami is city block level and upscaled from there. The common Shinigami, I'd probably just stick with 3rd seats and higher. That's probably where I would stop it at. If you debatably want to go like the 4th seat or 5th seat, but see, Yumik-Shika is only not a 3rd seat, number one, because Ikaku was a 3rd seat, and because he likes the number 5. So even he's at a higher tier than 5th seat. But I'll definitely take a look at it. Want me to make Sukuna versus 5 captains? Is that a challenge? If you make Sukuna versus 5 captains, Hey, yo, Ig and Rev are trying to play with me today, bro. Ig and Rev are playing with me today. You can do it. I'll watch it. Debunk the shit out of it, too. And we get to see all his character development being built up. People determine that Gojo loses to 5 Kage. The Kage just have well-defined abilities and roles in the team fight. Most of the Gote 13 can't even activate Bankai next to each other. Yeah, that's why it would be 1v5 this week, Friday. Yeah, sounds good. Yo, Ab-Stract, when do you want to read my script for Ryo versus Shirai? Good question. Good question. That depends, Shinigami. Should I do it live or in person and then come back? Hence, Ab-Stract as to why this video has the substance of a Reddit meme. Also, going over to 5 characters is less work than going over 13 when making a video. The 5 Kage are all around more marketable than the Gote 13. I agree. They're more marketable. They're more marketable, and they're an easier night. They're an easier night. Ichigo isn't fighting people stronger than him all the time. Yeah, no. Not all the time, Red. Not all the time. Pretty much all the times I pretty much mentioned. The only times he's not are when he's fighting Dordoni, is when he's fighting Ikaku, and when he is fighting Kilge Opie. Everyone else, in context at that given point in the story, was stronger than him. That being Ulquiorra, that being Aizen, that being Noitora, that being Kenpachi, that being Byakuya, that being Grimmjow, that being Yuha, now that we're getting 2000 in Blood War. Yeah, 7. Imagine training since the age of like 6 and comparing yourself to a person whose first real training was at the age of 15 years old. This 15-year-old enemies, by the way, are centuries-old monsters and death gods. Come on, bro. And complaining he doesn't one-shot them with the technique he learned 1 week ago. Laugh my ass off. Come on, bro. I guess more than half of Ichigo's fights didn't happen according to Red, LOL. You do know Blue Note ate one of Sanji's strongest kicks, right? He used Iron Body to do that, bro. Stop playing with me. Lucci also beat Luffy and Zoro. Anyway, we on Bleach ass. This ain't about One Piece or Naruto. Kuribo, we on their ass. Yeah, so you're talking about back at the mansion, bro. Luffy said he hadn't eaten back at the mansion, and Zoro gave another excuse. Because Kaku's like, oh my gosh, you're really strong this time. And Zoro was like, yeah, I wasn't focused last time. He said some bullshit. Anyways, there wasn't the giant stat gap. That doesn't exist in One Piece as far as that point. It doesn't exist in One Piece. And yeah, Blue Note had to use a technique. He's not like... Iron Body is a stat amplifier, which means it doesn't carry over, and it means it's not permanent. It doesn't, like... It's not Blue Note. That's Blue Note using Iron Body. Very different. People just love to ignore all context. One smart, you always be second to me in the Ab-Stract section live comments. Know your place. Oof, that's crazy. Ig talking filthy. What about 3rd rank or higher then? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. 3rd rank or higher. I'd probably do 3rd ranks to be safe. But yeah, I do 3rd rank. Yeah, because Yumichika is pretty much 3rd rank. Yeah, I do 3rd rank. Those are below MOI. We should continue more in this Naruto and One Piece criticism. I see Ref trying to challenge me too. Ulquiorra was there with Yami to kill Ichigo, but he disobeyed orders randomly. Ulquiorra, so you're wrong. No one showed up to kill Ichigo. What they showed up to do was assess if Ichigo was a threat and then kill him if he was a threat. No one showed up to kill Ichigo. You're incorrect. You're 3rd. I love Sanji, but today I'm Zoro. Not with me, bro. Because Kisuke and Yoruichi arrived. Tell number 3, shut up. Chad was no longer impressive by that point anyway. Chad was very impressive. He beat a pre-Verona Espada, which was stronger than anyone that's not a previous Espada. I don't know why you would say he was no longer impressive by that point. His last accomplishment was beating characters that lieutenants and lieutenant level fighters struggled to beat. Crazy to say. Chad has always been impressive. Y'all just hate Eon level. Y'all just have Eon level reading comprehension. Yeah, Chad has always been impressive. See, here's the thing. Chad, if Ichigo struggles, or if Ichigo suffers from his his opponents being stronger than him, this goes doubly for fucking everyone else that's not Ichigo. So that goes for Chad. That goes for Renji. That goes for Rukia. If Ichigo's struggling, imagine how Chad fucking feels. Chad put all his power in a single attack and did not do a thing to Noritora. In One Piece, Zoro would have matched Noritora. Just because. In Naruto, it would have been a little bit different. Because in Naruto, they can already match each other. You don't got to do too much in Naruto. Just be a better ninja. Catch them off guard. Be a little bit faster. Be a little bit more crafty. The second I help in the Ab-Stract section live comments, YouTube starts to shake with my presence alone. One smart Rev, y'all are beneath me when I'm in the comments. Hey, yo, Rev is hilarious, bro. I'm a happy number 2. Chill on personal attacks, man. Eon hasn't attacked anyone personal, so I need to attack him for his criticisms. That's Quinny. I agree with Red here. That's why I haven't been reading those comments in full. Definitely, let's not attack Eon. That is, that's pretty too far. Yeah, I won't read them. Like, I'm not going to restrict anyone, but I will say I wouldn't go as far as attacking him. Those are his viewpoints, and he's definitely entitled to them. The common Soul Reaper is scared of wall level hollows. The common Soul Reaper, or you mean scared? I mean, yeah, most Soul Reapers aren't that powerful. Most weaker ones, at least, yeah. They actually do have the surface level criticism, hence why One Piece of Naruto reside with them. Yeah, because you were used to being second rev. Sukuna gets blitzed. Sukuna, bro. You would have to do some wild ass scaling to get Sukuna. You would have to do some wild ass scaling to get Sukuna past Ganju. You would have to do some wild ass scaling to get Sukuna past Don Kanoshi. You would have to do some wild ass scaling to get Sukuna past Grand Fisher. I'm not even lying, guys. I'm not lying to you. Oh, man. Maybe not too wild, but yeah. Red, if you take that to be an insult, then it is what it is, Unc. Not that I meant it, though. Why not live? I wouldn't mind. Got you. Also, Ab-Stract, this is also why I like you. You have lots to say, and I feel like I vibe with you on chat. Definitely, bro. Definitely. All right, Ab-Stract, you will see the video pop up soon. I'll make the edit simple and basic since it's an easy Sukuna dub. That's crazy. He gonna go for it. See... Hey, yo, Ig, you a wild guy, bro. You a wild guy. But sure, hey, man, I'm with it. Let's do it. I'm through. Sukuna versus who? He wants to do Sukuna versus the Gote. Yeah, lots of things to say. Wouldn't 4 seats be city block level or something? What's the weakest guy? I would probably say, like Yumi Chika. Probably Yumi Chika. Yeah, the weakest person I can think of is probably like Yumi Chika. But then Yumi Chika beat Shuhei. But that was Shuhei off guard, but he still beat Shuhei. Suguna versus 5 captains. That's disgusting. If Shinji activates his Shikai Bankai, he hinders his team. Yamamoto hinders his team, and Shunsui hinders his team. The Gote is a sorry team. See, but Karibo, that's why it would be like 1v5. Here's the thing. You don't need 5 Shinigami to beat 5 captains. You need 1 Shinigami to solo the verse. So you don't need 5 for 5 captains. You can put any one of them there, and they'll beat the 5 Kage. The 5 Kage are not impressive by any means. How you doing, John the Maven? Chainsaw Man has a great energy system. If you're a man, you can also be a chainsaw. Seems legit. That's hilarious. It is easier to beat up Gote together than it is to beat... Wait, what? You said it is easier to beat the Gote together than it is to beat the 5 Kage. Are you Are you perhaps insane? Just watch me make that video abstract. Hey, I got you, bro. I have faith in you. Same with Shinsu and Shikai. Rangiku loses the Mai, not really. Where are your friends? He says to Bambi as he was about to use Shikai. I have Ichigo at massively hypersonic. He blitzes the entire JJK verse and one-shots all of them. With ease. With the most relative ease possible. What is Mei going to do when Rakage just surrounds her everywhere with ash? What is Mai? Yeah. Hinata is One Punch Man and JJK, by the way. He makes my heater cry. Anyway, good night, chat. This video sucks, and hope y'all have a good one, low-key. The 5Kage barely get to Mach 250. I have Ichigo just beyond that at bare minimum. Shinji wants to be alone. Okay, cool. We're going to go ahead to Rev's video, then we're going to call it a night. That's when my baby said, bow, 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 and my heart starts jumping. Ichika uwa, on everything, ooey dooey goo, means that I love you. I know this voice. Who is this guy? Virtue. I think I know him. I might not know him. This is 22 minutes. All right, let's go. Wait, Sasuke versus Gojo. I thought I said Sugino. Okay. He thinks the village is the country. Oh. Yo. Where's my audio, bro? Hold up, bro. I got you. Yo, Ig. Oh, you guys can't hear the audio. All right, hold up.
Need to be around moon.
I think I got you, bro. You said you can't hear the audio. Let me do it like this. Got you. Hey, appreciate you, Ig. I got you, bro. For some reason, it's not letting me hear you, though, either. But I got you. Appreciate you. All right. Yeah, it was probably because my fiance connected to my headphones and that disconnected all you guys, but we're going to see.
Satoru Gojo, the acclaimed strongest sorcerer
Okay,
of the
there we
modern
go.
era, has been tried and tested against
there we go.
basically
Alright.
every main matchup, whether that be Goku, Naruto, Saitama, etc. But what if the strongest sorcerer ran into the strongest Uchiha? Both have eyes that transcend the world of power around them and are pretty unique, so who would actually win? Well, let's find out. Shoot for 20k. Let's go. Before the strongest being the world had ever really conceived of returned, exploding the body and creating literal geysers of chakra stronger than the 10 tails of a more powerful Madara than the one who could summon over 20 of these same Chubaku Tensei meteors that literally drained the lifespan of a man who destroyed an entire country with the...
Oh, yeah, that's where I stopped it. Yeah, he said the Leaf Village is a country. No, No, the Elite Village is about large city level. It's funny because it's called the country of the land of fire. So making that mistake is kind of just like on its face, like funny. But no, the Elite Village, it's a village, not a country. The country is the land of fire.
Amount of force Madara used being calculated to be around moon level, far higher than when Madara destroyed all the continent nuking Biju at the same time. Sasuke would continue fighting alongside Naruto, who housed Kurama, the largest part of the Ten Tails, said to be capable of turning the entire planet to ash. Sasuke and Naruto having gained the greatest powers according to a 15-year anniversary guide from Hiromo, the Sage of Six Paths, with Sasuke now being able to fight alongside Naruto, whose Six Paths chakra is now being amplified via his KCM2 cloak, which alone is an amp at least far beyond KCM1, which was such a speed boost that it made it so Naruto couldn't even react to his own sheer speed, hence to why he could move roughly 70 times faster than the light speed Raikage. Yet Sasuke can still acclimate to this Naruto, who, albeit maybe slightly physically more imposing than Sasuke. Concerning a meaningful fight, however, this is virtually irrelevant. As we know, when the two are fighting the aforementioned Madara, Naruto was struggling to cause any significant damage, fighting equally to the Limbo and having multiple offensive corals halted by that very Madara. Yet Sasuke, on the other hand, was able to completely swap out Madara, stabbing him through the chest and even blitzing across the battlefield to slice Madara in half. No exaggeration, Sasuke massively outperformed Naruto regarding a ratio of damage done to damage taken per se. Even as Naruto continues to press Kaguya, the aforementioned threat far beyond Madara, whose chakra was such that Sasuke couldn't even conceive of a being like this actually existing, and despite her threatening to destroy her entire set of time spaces, Sasuke was still keeping up with and eventually evolving his power to such that he could be confident in stopping another Kaguya level threat, presuming it ever threatens the peace they so desperately fought for. With this also being quite consistent if you take the novelization of The Last, which states that Sasuke is Kakashi's strongest student. And now, before positing just how strong this asserts Sasuke to actually be, and arguing between solar system and universal, I think it's pretty crucial to note Gojo's possible AP first, so you can see why that's not really that relevant.
At Full Sail, our technology programs are designed with a different approach to learning. We let our students get hands-on and start
just how strong this asserts Sasuke to actually be, and arguing between solar system and universal, I think it's pretty crucial to note Gojo's possible AP. We're positing just how strong this asserts Sasuke to actually be, and arguing between solar system and universal, I think
I'm to the point. You know how when we was younger, or like kids, right? And old heads would be like, man, them kids gonna do what them kids gonna do. They gonna listen to the music they gonna listen to. They gonna do what they gonna do. That's how I feel right now. I don't even feel like I should explain why this is wrong. I don't even feel like I should explain why this is wrong. I'm just going to enjoy the video. I'm just going to accept all this on its face and just enjoy the video. Because this is a 22-minute video, and if I stop to analyze everything that I find fault with, especially the way that I break it down, we will be here another hour and a half. So I will accept everything in this video as true and then just base the judgment based off of how he presents the information. That's what I'll do my best to do.
I think it's pretty crucial to note Gojo's possible AP first, so you can see why that's not really that relevant. Now, while many people will immediately assume the argument of Gojo scaling to at least island level due to Dagon's domain expansion, I think to prove this point, let's just take Gojo's AP to the highest ends possible, right? That are at least realistic.
I mean, you might as well
and
just give him fucking
different statements
star solar level. You might as well give him sun level.
If a cursed spirit were to consume all of Sukuna's fingers, they'd be capable of destroying the world as they know it. And while this could be in reference to society, as the diction "as we know" could possibly allude to such, I think it's fair to also posit that other characters like Kenjaku will make that sort of distinction between world and society when it's needed. And I mean, think of it like this, right? Gojo can scale above basically every sorcerer on the planet, and has been shown to literally obliterate Toji and his worm thing, which is stated to house a fourth dimensional space in his mouth, alluding to him being a dual spatial phenomenon. Taking this, Gojo could then destroy a 3D door to a 4D space. How relevant that actually is, who knows? There are other characters still that can create literal black holes, so planetary for Gojo isn't too absurd, you know what I mean? Although, admittedly, those who want to posit that this is a star as opposed to like an action highlight in Dagon's domain is probably a bit far-fetched, all things considered, but you could take it as a star, I guess. So, as noted, arguing about whether Sasuke ought to scale to solar system or universal doesn't really matter at all, although you should give the same charity to each fighter depending on if you take the higher or lower interpretation. If you go with a island level Gojo, then go with a planetary Sasuke. If you go with a star level Gojo, then go with a universal Sasuke, etc. But let's be completely transparent. No matter what you say, if Sasuke gets his hands on Gojo, then the death sentence has already been signed. And as for Gojo, it's probably a similar thing in how he applies his mathematical and spatial manipulative powers, so let's discuss the real meat and potatoes. Y'all really want. Did Sasuke pass the infinity? What is the infinity? Well, let's find out in a bit more of an advanced discussion. Gojo's Limitless is an ability that denies the traditional understanding of motion mathematically via exploiting finite distances as a means for creating the idea and usage of infinity. As I'm sure you all know, having probably heard Gojo's Limitless 1,000 times and probably heard of the deep abyss mathematical complexities such as those derived from Shonen Jump Giga Summer 2021 magazine special that utilized two special grade mathematicians to ultimately determine or attempt to determine how might Gojo be manipulating the space around him in the way that he does. Now, in this magazine, and I won't promise, look, this won't take too long, just stick with me, it'll help you understand the ability. Mr. Hino, who is a mathematical professor, he makes a pretty sharp comparison to Gojo's ability of that of Riemann's theorem, which is essentially the same splitting of areas of distances, just not directly into halfway points, where the magazine details it as follows, quote, if you view one frame as 0.1 of a page, you get 10 frames. If you view it as 0.01 second slices, you get 100 frames. If you keep making the units smaller, 0.000001, and you keep increasing the number of zeros, the number of frames can become arbitrarily large. To which Mr. Hino supplements with the claim that there is no end to counting the steps until you arrive. Since time can be arbitrarily subdivided, you could split time into infinitely many frames, and if you count them, there's no limit. So the idea of approaching is that there's a sequence of points.
Yeah.
Slowing down is the heart of it. You see, Gojo is simply bringing mathematical concepts in that he is essentially just dividing space infinitely to create, in a technical sense, an infinite distance that must be traveled to actually hit Gojo. It's not like a wall, though the fanbook does describe it as a barrier or barrier-like. Just like how both Gege Akutami and Gojo himself analogize it in the Achilles and the tortoise paradox, which I know you've heard. The faster runner can never beat a tortoise with a head start in a race due to him having to reach where the tortoise was. By that time, he would be at a new distance, and the runner would have to go to that distance, and he'd have to do this an infinite number of times. Basically, when Gojo shows the limitless in his fingers, he's literally showing an infinite distance, or an infinite distance of halfway points that he's brought forth into reality, because, as he says, the infinity is always there, he's just kind of making it real or tangible, whatever. Look, you guys get how it works. So the true question, right, the true meat is, how does Sasuke interact with this? Well, that's actually quite interesting, as while, yes, we alluded to Sasuke already being far beyond the speed of light, I would like to preface that this alone doesn't inherently conclude that he bypassed infinity, due to Miguel's statement of Gojo manipulating space on an atomic level, and obviously photons are smaller than atoms, thus would negate it, hence why light would also just pass through it, and hence why you could even see Gojo. And this is heavily consistent, but this doesn't mean that if you're above the speed of light, you'll just blitz through it because you're not the size of a photon, obviously, right? And while this actually is heavily consistent with other Jujutsu sources, like the revived Yorozu being able to create a perfect sphere, which is understood by most experts to be basically impossible within the theorizing that atoms with a temperature of absolute zero could be perfect for maybe a glimpse of time, supporting the manipulation of space on an atomic level being pretty consistent for the series. But what does this actually mean for Sasuke? Well, it's actually pretty unique in terms of how, you know, they would actually interact. For example, while many people point to Gojo's innate ability to speak and move when trapped in time due to his infinity, as well, Sasuke can kind of do this with his Rasengan. It allows for him to literally visualize Momoshiki's time swap and actually see it when everything is stopped. And it gets even crazier than this, as his Rasengan, even in its premature state, can perceive the aforementioned limbo clones, which are hailed as imperceptible phantoms residing in an entirely different reality that's merely adjacent to our own. And while this sounds crazy, Naruto himself, whose 6-pass Sage mode is meant to be a relative to Sasuke's vision in his Rasengan, could command the principles of all creation, as when, you know, he is either unconsciously floating or creating an entirely new eyeball out of naught or stopping the 8th gate of death. And despite this, it's probably more difficult for Sasuke to bypass the infinity than what you might presume, as I think while many have already said Genjutsu likely won't work on Gojo, as he would be probably stopping the chakra that is coming towards him to enter his ocular nerves, seeing as the traveling ocular chakra simply won't reach past the infinity. And we'll tie this back in later, but there's a few different things I think that he might be able to use to get past it. The first of the which is Amaterasu, something praised equally to even the Flying Raijin in Databook 2, which also states, quote, "Its flames appear pitch black, yet burn with a heat like the sun," which actually doesn't have the said to diction to the following points in this page, where it also notes that its heat is so powerful it's, quote, "enough to incinerate even a person's internal organs in an instant," something pretty detrimental to Gojo if it were to hit him. And while many people would firstly resort to the age-old consensus that it travels, seen as the Raikage AA, the hailed fastest man on the planet at the time, could dodge it, this is Sasuke with his base MS, and unironically, it doesn't actually ever happen again, as far as I'm aware, besides only 2 other times when he uses it with just his base MS against Danzo and Gyuki, who both react to it. So each time it's used in his base MS form, it's reacted to. And while you may say,
It's almost like if you're fast enough, you can dodge it.
but Virtue, the Amaterasu doesn't change if it gets the EMS, that may be true, but we don't actually know that. The only 2 possible examples of such ever being the case would be for both Madara and Sasuke, with the former of the which never giving us any glimpse of what his MS ability was, much less how it changed, meaning it's only Sasuke, and thus, what do we really know? Well, to your surprise, alongside Volume 61, Kishimoto wrote a full guidebook to supplement the release of the Naruto Road to Ninja movie, with the guide housing the same authorship style to all 4 databooks, plus a Q&A interview section. Concerning Sasuke, this guidebook states, the Mangekyo Sharingan, a powerful Sharingan that grants techniques like Susanoo and Amaterasu. By transplanting Itachi's eyes, Sasuke stabilized and perfected its abilities, awakening the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which actually very well could imply that the greater the ocular prowess is actually enhancing the abilities, raw might themselves. And furthermore, we know this to be the case with the Susanoo, as Fanbook 2 states that Itachi has the ultimate absolute defense which is a categorical term typically applied to Gaara's sand, Neji's rotation, and even Sasuke's summit Susanoo, where now it's Sasuke with his bare bones, fresh EMS, who has surpassed his previous ocular abilities, now having his own ultimate absolute defense. We know his basic genjutsu can now completely match Itachi's Tsukiyomi, which was stated to be a far cry in the summit, and his Enton is now hailed as the greatest offensive ocular ability, where we now see that as to parallel his attacks during the summit, Sasuke has Amaterasu on his Susanoo and tosses it out in whiffs against the opponent. And his MS form, he can only toss out 3, where now in his initial EMS, again, no training, no practice, he can use 5. What would you expect? We see, for example, that the basic Sharingan allows for greater chakra to be utilized in the fireball, according to some earlier anime guidance.
Oh my god, bro. Not gonna lie, you gotta virtue. Get to the point. Please get to the point.
But look, all I'm saying is the best summed up explanation is by Data Book 4. Quote, the transplanted eye of Itachi lit an eternal light within the Mangekyo Sharingan, granting Sasuke ninjutsu and dojutsu that surpass even his brothers. But don't worry, let's not stop there. How about we glance at 2 and arguably 4 solid examples for why the Amaterasu's development might actually be the case and what that even means. In chapter 657, we open to Madara standing in a large smoke cloud, being revived into the body he so desperately desired, where all of a sudden the Amaterasu appears on Madara. But let's take a closer look. If you zoom in here, you can actually see that Madara is invisible in the smoke, and the only reason why you would think this is because of the page prior, except that that page is meant to show Madara being revived and thus couldn't properly display the smoke, unless you want to say that he was covered in smoke, revived, then Sasuke hit the Amaterasu, and then immediately after the smoke reformed. But like, come on, this is a bit silly. The Amaterasu's height also above Madara's head supports the fact that Sasuke hit him without seeing him. Furthermore, or at least only seeing him with the Sharingan, I should note. Furthermore, if you really want to get into it, we know that there's a conceptually dependent aspect of the Amaterasu. Like, for example...
What was the point of that? I know I listened the entire time he just spoke, and I have no idea why he brought up Madara getting hit by Amaterasu.
Examples for why the Amaterasu's development might actually be the case and what that even means. In chapter 657, we open to Madara standing in a large smoke cloud, being revived into the body he so desperately desired, where all of a sudden the Amaterasu appears on Madara. But let's take a closer look. If you zoom in here, you can actually see that Madara is invisible in the smoke, and the only reason why you would think this is because of the page prior, except that that page is meant to show...
He's saying Madara got hit by Amaterasu through the smoke? Okay, that's not what the... Okay, I'll go back and look at that,
being revived and thus couldn't properly display the smoke, unless you want to say that he was covered in smoke, revived, then Sasuke hit the Amaterasu, and then immediately after the smoke reformed. But like, come on, this is a bit silly. The Amaterasu's height also above Madara's head supports the fact...
And are we saying the Sharingan can't see through smoke? I mean, hey, if you're saying it, fine. I thought it could see through... I mean, maybe it can't, though. Maybe it can't.
Sasuke hit him without seeing him. Furthermore, or at least only seeing him with the Sharingan, I should note. Furthermore, if you really want to get into it, we know that there's a conceptually dependent aspect of the Amaterasu. Like, for example, right? The Amaterasu only works insofar as it burns on targeted things. Like, we know Itachi misfires it off the roof and hits the trees, which don't actually burn.
What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your...
Sasuke hits the Raikage A, but since it hit the cloak, it never actually really burned him. Why? Because the target wasn't the cloak, it was A.
That is a terrible excuse. That is cope. It didn't hit the Raikage, it hit his cloak. Therefore, he won't be burned at the temperature of the sun because he wasn't the target. Dumbest shit I ever heard. That means if it hits Gojo's clothes, he can just quickly take off his clothes and they're going to burn very slowly because after all, the clothes weren't the target. Gojo was. Stupidest move in the world. No diss to virtue at all. This is the dumbest fucking logic I've ever heard for Amaterasu. It's beyond retarded, bro. It's beyond dumb. It's beyond dumb. I don't know why we can't just be honest and say the move is very inconsistent. The move is bad. It is. Because
Similarly, Madara has a new body, and Sasuke can't see him without, the Sharingan. He's only seen his chakra network, so what would be the only conceptual thing he would consider? The armor, which is the only thing that burns, as opposed to Madara's lion mane hairdo, which was basically part of the same exact spot, virtually speaking. Sasuke prior to this, however, did look at the Rasen Shuriken when he used it on there, so of course I'm not claiming it's just conceptual, it's not really visual, because, look, it is visual, but maybe it's more conceptually dependent than what we've been giving it credit. Look at when he uses it against Kaguya. Pay attention to both of these examples. The first is when he uses it here as a diversionary tactic. His eye does not bleed and it serves its sole purpose. However, after this, once they're stuck in Kaguya's ice, which was so dense that even Naruto's TSO could barely trudge through it, Sasuke uses his Amaterasu and his eye bleeds and the flame instantly consumes the ice. And I'm not even going to argue that this wasn't in his technical line of sight, which is actually arguable, as you could see here if you just draw the line. It's clear that the likely point of origin wasn't in his line of sight, or at least it's very awkward to say that it was, but regardless, we can just say that it's possible. Meaning that in both this example and the one that hit Madara, we know that there's a high probability of a greater than visual targeting, and coincidentally, his eyes bled in both scenes. And both diversionary attacks against Kaguya and even Jibito, if you want to go farther back, they didn't bleed at all. In both instances where they were just visually targeted, they didn't bleed. When they were more conceptually targeted, they did, which could ultimately allude to the notion of the more conceptually targeted Amaterasu being more taxing, but the less aggressive and more diversionary Amaterasu being both visual but also no blood, so perhaps less taxing. Now look, this may seem tangential, and this is kind of giving a lot of charity to Sasuke, but it could most certainly allude to Sasuke being able to appear the Amaterasu onto Gojo. And if you're still skeptical, you could argue that theoretically the chakra would just go through infinity because it goes through this ice, but it really depends on A, how thick you think the ice is, and B, whether or not you think the chakra travels at a photonic size. It's kind of arguable. I probably don't. Although perhaps another argument that could be made is that the chakra utilized, similarly to the Genjutsu chakra, as I said I'd come back to, in and of itself wouldn't inherently be threatening and would thus not be stopped by infinity. Like how when a pencil and an eraser are both thrown at Gojo simultaneously, it only halts the pencil, viewing it as threatening. So this is a possible argument, and we know the chakra that does traverse it to the brain, and the potentially traveling chakra for the Amaterasu aren't typically seen by the Sharingan, which even the 3 Tomoe state can view microscopic nanobombs. So perhaps Gojo's brain wouldn't logically detect these as chakra signals, or these chakra signals like as threatening, but that's even if he can perceive them. So that's an argument. Regardless, we know that the Emanotasia Kara is also conceptually dependent, as he uses it without seeing the object.
Okay. Alright, so, okay. Yapping, bro. You yapping. So we have Amaterasu and maybe Genjutsu. The problem with Genjutsu is Gojo doesn't have chakra. He does not have chakra or a chakra network. Genjutsu's out of here. If you want to say he's affected by Genjutsu, you would have to give his 6 eyes being able to see chakra. Just like how the Sharingan would. And then that would have to be its own little conversation. Amaterasu. I don't know why. Man. Alright. The whole thing with the eyes thing. He said, oh, sometimes the eyes bleed, sometimes it doesn't. That could mean it's conceptual versus whatever other version he said. I'll have to look into that more. You know, I might even rewind the video to where he was going over that. That actually might be worth talking about. Yeah, I'll do that again. But Amaterasu, as an ability itself, has been only one time shown to do anything that it's purported that it could do, like disintegrate steel, or be impressive, actually. The only time it's been impressive has been one time in Boruto. One time in Boruto. In fact, even him saying Amaterasu, when not on its intended target, doesn't tend to burn fast, pretty much gives credence to why that attack is trash in the first place. Because if Madara's armor can get hit, but Madara not be the intended target, and therefore it's going to burn slow. If Raikage's armor can get hit by it, but Raikage himself not be the intended target, it's really weird, really dumb, not going to lie. It's a very stupid thing to hold. I'd just say the move is fucking inconsistent. That's what I would do, but hey, whatever. If you're going to take that route, understand every layer of anything protecting someone will be hit first, and then Sasuke will have to land Amaterasu. Amaterasu is controlled by the user. The move is consistent and amazing. Not really. Why is Amaterasu bad trip? Yeah, it's just trash, Ursa. It's just trash. From its first showing, I have a video on Amaterasu, if I'm not mistaken. No, I don't have a video on Amaterasu. I might need to make a video on Amaterasu. That's what I might need to do. Yeah, I might need to make a video on Amaterasu. So, the data books will tell you it's as hot as the sun. Feats will tell us it's nowhere close to that. The community will have you believe it's only hot when the user wants it to hit something, kind of like how he tried to do. The story will not back this up. The story will not back this up at all. In fact, feats will disprove that. Even in the example he gave us, the scenario wouldn't have made too much sense. Okay, cool. Amaterasu hits the Raikage's lightning cloak, which is I don't even believe that shit. I don't even believe that. But fine. Since the Raikage was the intended target and not his cloak, the minute it burned through his cloak, his hand also should have been disintegrating. Turning to ash. Turning to dust. Being incinerated. It wasn't, though. Despite it being on his hand. When he hit Killer B with the Amaterasu, he meant to hit Killer B. So the fire was definitely firing. And then that same fire that he meant to hit Killer B with goes on Karin, and Karin is absolutely fine. Burns for the longest time we've seen anyone else burn, and is absolutely fine. When Itachi uses it on Nagato, Nagato is burning for several panels. He's more or less absolutely fine. Nothing's wrong with him. The move is garbage. The move is garbage. Didn't Boroshiki use shadow clones to avoid Sasuke's Amaterasu? Didn't he do that? It's a garbage move. So why is it relevant in Gets Infinity, which is way more powerful as a barrier? I mean, he made Sasuke solar level to star level, so him having conceptual Amaterasu isn't even a surprise. Sharingan can view microscopic nanobombs, as he just said. Why has Sasuke never spawned Amaterasu inside a person? Beautiful question. Why would also, here's the thing. The Sharingan can see microscopic nanobombs and see cells in the human DNA, but we're going to assume it has a hard time seeing through smoke. Hit and missed. Oh, we can argue hit and miss because that's like chakra, and that'd be like just seeing a wave of chakra. Cool. I'll give you hit and miss. You two smoke. What the fuck are your eyes good for if you can't even see through basic smoke? Anyways, I think he is equalizing energy. Gojo's stamina is almost infinite. Okay, yeah. If he's equalizing energy, then yes, Genjutsu would be something that Gojo would be able to perceive, and then automatically choose if he would want it to be bypassed by infinity or not, which he wouldn't. Not really. His stamina is great, but there are ways to counter Gojo regardless of infinity. Bro, Amaterasu doesn't even burn the ground, nor does it have any feats. I think it's simpler to argue that Amaterasu can either blast a shot or conjure around and onto a target. It's still too long to burn. I'd be careful with the conjure around or spawn, because like when I've said this before, when things spawn on you, you cannot dodge it. You cannot dodge. It's already on you. It's by definition unavoidable because it's doing what its name implies. Spawning on you. Spawning meaning to come forth, come about, be present on you. Amaterasu doesn't spawn on you. It does not. When Sasuke used it on Boroshiki, he had his target locked, the move activated, and it hit a clone. It didn't hit what Sasuke wanted it to hit. It didn't hit what Sasuke was targeting. It hit what was in his line of sight. When he did it against Raikage moved after it was activated. After it was activated, not before it was activated. That's important. Because if it spawned on him, the minute it arrived, it would have hit him. The minute it spawned, he would have been hit simultaneously by its creation, its coming about. He would have been hit. Doesn't do that. The move appears. It can appear, spawn. You out your mind. The movie just takes a lot of breakthrough. Rev, I'm being cheeky because physical stamina is chakra, so equalizing doesn't have to happen. But it's sun level heat trust. Oh, I see. Man, fuck all that. Man, fuck all this nerd talk. Trip, have you been applying for any position? Also, y'all gotta stop stealing my swag. I'm the only one who gets to call him Trip. I'm at the barbecues and the cookouts. Ayo, no doubt. That's hilarious. Yeah, bro. So what we're doing is Twin is helping me with my resume since he's already got his foot in the door. And I'm also I'm also working with my other friend who's also in the industry right now. They're both helping me getting my resume right. Once the resume is right, bro, we're sending applications like there's no fucking tomorrow. Once the resume is right. So I'm making daily progress on it. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I've been working on it for like the last 2.5 days. But the formatting's getting me because I don't have Microsoft Edge and I don't want to pay for it. So I've been doing it all from my phone. But it's going good. It's going good. Haven't applied yet. I'm still, doing the resume because I have a lot of projects on GitHub. And at first they were saying, "Oh, well, you have too many projects. Don't put them all on there. They're going to overwhelm someone." But they were like, "Well, you want some projects on there, so just kind of spread them out and stuff like this." I'm like, "All right, I don't know what you guys want from me, but I'm trying my best." And so that's kind of what I've been doing, bro. No, Rev, you need special attacks or something to bypass it, i.e. something that Gojo requires to live, i.e. sound or light, etc. My fault, Uncle Red. They write Anchor, well, you're not wrong, but I have my ways, hello. Why didn't it work on B? The feats tell me the user controls the rate of burning with focus. The Raikage was pressing Sasuke. Karin was injured. Nagato was missing chunks. Nagato was not missing chunks. He was missing chunks. Missing chunks. Missing chunks. Missing chunks? Missing chunks. Sorry, Karibo. Can someone tell Karibo what I do all day? He wasn't missing chunks. He meant to hit him, and he was not missing chunks. Raikage was pressing Sasuke. Why would it matter if he's pressing Sasuke when he used it? The idea was for him to get burned. No, you don't necessarily need to argue about how to bypass infinity. Just get Gojo to use infinite void once and survive. Infinity doesn't block Sasuke's vision, so it can't stop Amaterasu. Bro, it travels all out. Susanoo doesn't block Sasuke's vision either. Well, it spawns on Sasuke. Facts. No, it appears on Sasuke. It doesn't spawn on Sasuke. It doesn't spawn on anyone. It appears on those people. If it spawned on anyone, it would spawn on everyone. The fact that it doesn't spawn on everyone tells us that it can be dodged, it can be avoided, which means it's not spawning. Like when we talk about Lige's x-axis or Lile Baro, when we talk about his x-axis and he fires and you're still there, no matter what, you're getting hit. Unless you can become intangible or it's not you. Because his weapon literally does have infinite speed. I don't even like saying shit like irrelevant speed. I don't even like saying that type of shit. But the minute he pulls the trigger, there is no dodging. The concept of dodging is moot. The concept of dodging is moot. You have to already be moving and him missing shots, or you're already hit. There's no in between. You're not blocking it. You're not dodging it. If you're where his muzzle is by the time he pulls the trigger, you're hit. That's not how Amaterasu works. Once Amaterasu is fired, launched, or engaged, you have time. You can move, you can dodge, you can block. It is not instantaneous. It does not spawn on you. It can appear as close as possible, but it does not spawn on you. X-axis doesn't spawn on you either, but it has a much better argument to say it would. And I'm only saying it doesn't because he doesn't describe it as spawning on you. He describes it as penetrating the target between, the muzzle of his gun and his target. That's how he describes it. So I'm not going to say it spawns on you, but that has a stronger argument based on the evidence. Sasuke doesn't shoot out Amaterasu when using it close range. I mean, he used it on Boroshiki. That was pretty close. He used it on Jigen. Again, pretty close. Amaterasu spawns. It spawned when the Raikage gets after him. It spawns after the eye twitch. No, it doesn't spawn. We got to use our words more carefully. It doesn't spawn. It appears. They're two different things. If it spawns on you, it's already hit you. Hence, spawn on. If it spawns on you, you're already hit. If you can dodge, it's just a move that can appear. Very different. We gotta be more responsible with our words. So actually, dodges by running out of line of sight of Itachi. Yes, that's true. He avoids it by doing that. Yep. And Sakura ran into straight lines possible too. Yo, Ab-Stract, what time on Friday are you free? I think I should be free all day Friday, but I don't want to do it too late. I don't want to do it too late, bro. Because me and the fiance might be going out for lunch. For dinner. So it can't be too late. It's just probably around let me know when you're free, bro. Text me. Itachi wasn't trying to win. He literally made Amaterasu underground to chase Sasuke. If anything, Susanoo would have huge holes in it since it's not atomic level energy and manipulation. Yet Amaterasu can't bypass it. Spawn behind it if you think bypassing. Oh, I didn't even know GitHub was others' work. I need to do the same thing. I want to get AWS and become a DevOps one day alongside getting another position. Yeah, no, that's dope, bro. That's dope. Yeah. I've been using GitHub to basically store all my projects on. You like take some or just watch some tutorials, bro. This is what I do. Hey, Red. This is the cheat, bro. This is what I do. I don't even do my own technical projects in GitHub. What I do, bro, is I screenshot and record. It's a little dishonest now. I screenshot and record other people doing something, and then I write down the steps in the process, the tutorial basically within GitHub, and then I upload that as a project. Now here's the thing. It's not too dishonest because I am watching it, so I am learning, and I do end up doing it too. But like, it's just not me doing it. But yeah. Yeah, but he was fighting in a way that made Sasuke believe he was going all out and was also fooling Zetsu. Bro, who you got winning? Melee versus... Oh, yeah, that's right. You asked me. Melee versus Ichigo, 70s, Demon King versus Ichibe. So I want this earlier, but didn't hear you respond to it. Yes. I forgot about that. 7 Deadly Sins, bro. I'm really going to have to go back and get familiar with their scaling, bro. That's the only thing... I wish you liked a more popular anime. Don't get me wrong, not that Seven Deadly Sins is not popular, but it's definitely not like it's not like one of them anymore. It's going to take me a while to get like back into the swing of their scaling in their magic system and all that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You said the Demon King versus Ichibe. The Demon King is like, I don't know if I'm the best person to debate Bleach. Or like, because my scaling method is so restrictive and so strict in general, bro, that I inherently lowball and downplay and all that everything. So like when you say Demon King versus Ichibe, from what I remember from the Demon King, he's crazy hacks. Like Ichibe and Yuha was all hacks. Demon King is crazy hacks. I don't know how to. I'm gonna have to figure out how to. I'd have to know their magic systems and stuff like that. Can anyone negate hacks in Seven Deadly Sins via magic power, magic energy, curses, hexes, or anything? Like, how are we doing that in Seven Deadly Sins? Because Yuha can do it by powering up. Yuha, when he uses the Almighty, he gets a power up, and then the seal starts to disappear. Right? We know how it works in Bleach. What exactly is allowing them to bypass hacks? Like Escanor, right? When Melascula tries to eat his soul, it's too hot. But the thing is, his soul was still pushed out of his body. Right? So it's like, all right, he survived, but his soul was still pushed out. So it's almost like a secondary resistance. Like, okay, we can push your soul out and I can eat it. It's just that your soul's too hot. Okay, well, that's my being, my power. But my soul was still manipulated by another force. And Escanor is the strongest person there. Yeah, no. So I need to know that more. I need to know that stuff first. And just the overall scaling. You can't dodge X-axis. We saw in the anime, Shunsui was dodging. No, you cannot dodge the X-axis. And Shunsui was not dodging the X-axis. Lele was either missing or he was hitting clones. Don't know where you got he was dodging the X-axis. You can't be already moving and not get hit according to his power. It doesn't make sense. You can't be already moving and not get hit according to his power. No, you can be already moving and not get hit, but you could also get hit. Either one is available. It all depends on Lee J's aim at that point, though. Like when he's fighting Oetsu, and Oetsu is literally like blitzing around and moving, and he's like, oh, the next shot's going to hit because I've been tracking your movements and I'm used to how fast you are. And then the next shot hits. No surprise. With Shunsui just had so many fucking tricks and games. He didn't have to be as fast as Oetsu. He had too much bullshit for Lee J to even deal with. when Lijo was shooting Shinsui's after images, so I guess it can be dodged. Yeah, those aren't instances of the move being dodged. Those are instances of Lijo being wrong. Yeah, move out of the way before he pulls the trigger. Exactly. It would have to be before he pulls the trigger. Exactly. Thank you, Egg. Yeah, that's what we call scaling to the speed of the attack, Rebo. I'm free whenever I'm off work, Ab-Stract. Okay, so yeah, let me know when you're off work then Friday, bro. Ah, man, this nigga doing the classic school cheating, copy the answers, but change it a bit. LOL. Yeah, hey, man, we got to do what we got to do. As long as you can pass that test, you better do what the fuck you got to do, bro. This is a world of grimy shit. I ain't playing with nobody. Bro, it's throwing shade on 7Ds. I hope I'm not. Rev, it's just moving out of the way of the barrel before Lijo presses the trigger. No different than watching out for... Oh, no. Stop. It is different because when Sasuke launches Amaterasu, you can still move and react. Once the trigger's pulled, you're fucking hit. Excuse the language. I just don't understand how this isn't clicking. Excuse the language. I'll say it again. It's different because when Amaterasu is activated, you have physical time to see it spawn on you, and you can move, you can dodge, you can even make fucking clones somehow and then get hit. When Lijo pulls the trigger, you are hit. If you are there, if it is you, you are hit. That's the difference. There is no lag time. There is no time to move after I've already fired. You're hit where I shot, literally. You're hit. You're hit. Demon King can't be harmed if you try to harm him. You actually heal him, so it's a tough fight. Yeah, see, I didn't even watch the Demon King fight. That's crazy. Not gonna lie, personally, the ruler and God would be a easy W. Oh no, not One Smart being 3D. One Smart brother, he reacted before even seeing Lily's position. In 7Ds, it doesn't work like Bleach. Hacks can work on regardless power unless you have some type of resistance. Oh, shit. Really? Okay, so then how would it... So then let me ask you, Ig, or if you want to save it for... If you want to save it for the live, we can. If any and all hacks can work, what would he do against having his name changed or erased? What would he do against that? By the way, the rule is causality manipulation. In extent, it reverses the effects of any attacks, and God is just being immune. And God is just being immune to any magic-related attack. In this cause, will be spiritual. In this case, it would be spiritual energy. Okay. Okay, being immune. Okay. He didn't react to Borrow beforehand when he didn't know where Borrow was at the first time. At first, then he ended up switching places. Okay, gotcha. We can save it for live. Okay, gotcha, bro. He didn't react to Lele beforehand when he didn't know where Borrow was at first. Then he ended up switching places. Oh, you're talking about when he first used Bodhidharma falling down. Yeah, if you're talking about when he first used Bodhidharma falling down, Lele was the only person fooled because even Nanao was following Shunsui the entire time. So yeah, these, like, you're naming instances where Lele is wrong, not when the attack itself is wrong or anything like that, bro. All right, that was a good break. Let me finish this goddamn video because I want to.
Why I call it the worst signature move. Every time I...
Not this video.
Against Kenshiki, for example. And he also does it against Madara here. All this to say that Sasuke could hit and obviously kill Gojo, depending primarily on how you think these two work concerning both vision and conceptualization. If you do subscribe to the latter, then Sasuke should be able to swap Gojo into the Amaterasu itself, like how Minato teleports with an attack in the person's body. If your understanding of the Yamanote Chakra is less than that of Minato's Flying Raijin, then you should probably let's go back a note, right? When Minato stated to have a technique that essentially is capable of cracking open time and space.
All right, that's probably the smartest thing that he said, and I like that. So, switching Gojo into the Amaterasu. I like that. It's definitely within Sasuke's ability as a fighter, as far as like battle IQ, and I think it has potential to work. Now, the only other thing would be where it would hit Gojo. Would it be his pants that he could take off since it's not his target? Would it be his glasses, his jacket, his coat? That'd be the only thing.
Then send an object through a subspace connected by 2 Flying Raijin markers, with Data Book 3 stating that transcends concepts like space and distance, whereas Sasuke's is never stated to have any sort of subspace interaction and is truly just swapping out the opponent. We also can know this to be the case as Madara, without the Ten Tails, was able to sense Tobirama's Flying Raijin before it happened and even dodge it, but Sasuke's Yamanote Chakra could completely blitz him, swapping a sword into Madara's stomach, meaning that Sasuke has a teleportation ability that is beyond the conceptual transcendence of the Flying Raijin. So Sasuke should theoretically swap Gojo into attacks via this, bypass the infinity in a way. If not, then Gojo could probably win via something like Immeasurable Void, which just overloads the brain with infinite information, which is a better win con than Hollow Purple, seeing as while it's commonly thought to be existence erasure, it probably doesn't, as it has a really clear like singe and searing effect to it. It's not actually just erasing things at all, such as against Sukuna. So yeah, while Gojo does lose to, like Goku, right? Obviously, he probably is more powerful than, what the common crazy matches allude to, right? He's always put up against these universal, massively faster than light characters, and I'm not saying Sasuke isn't, but he actually is stronger than what we think, and I actually think that this one could probably go either way. It just kind of comes down to how you subscribe to the conceptual aspects of the Amaterasu and the Rasengan swap, which I don't really think the latter is all that debatable. I would also like to make a few notes that Gojo is presumably fighting a perfect game with the Infinity, although in universe he doesn't exactly do this, allowing the Infinity to take a lesser precedence so he can engage in more hand-to-hand confrontational bouts, such as against Sukuna or arguably even against Jogo. So the usage of Infinity, insofar as we're applying, is like the perfect application for it. No pride taken into account really at all. If it were take a lesser precedent, then obviously Sasuke would just blitz and one-shot Gojo, with Sasuke having innumerable other methods to kill him if he doesn't have the Infinity, with his Susanoo, for example, being now like a level only equal to like Madara's in terms of pure mastery, using just his hand to block Senbon from Kaguya herself, and fighting the same Naruto avatar that could completely obliterate the world, and honestly, more depending on your aforementioned interpretations of Kaguya. But what did you guys think? Do you hold to Gojo clearly decimating Sasuke, or do you actually think that Sasuke would just instantly punch right through the Infinity with his pure might? By the way, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe if you like this type of content and want some more JJK type videos. I'd also like to give a shout out to Jaded, who's done this video in the past. It's a pretty good educational video, so check that out if you like it. But more important,
right? Yes. So the teleporting Gojo into Amaterasu, I do think that's probably the best thing he said still. If this was verse equalization, I think someone said it was, then Genjutsu is more on the table, but then Gojo still has counters for it, especially if he can use RCT to heal his brain from whatever is fucking with him. There's also that too. Don't know if he thought about that. But if we're not doing any of that verse equalization stuff, Infinity is not going to work. Genjutsu is not going to work. Amaterasu has more anti-feats than actual good feats. And Gojo would really just tire Sasuke the fuck out. He would be shooting hollow purple after hollow purple after hollow purple. And Sasuke would have to maintain his Susanoo the entire time. But his Susanoo should be able to defend against it at the very least. I think Gojo would solo the Narutoverse. So you're going to negate an infinity with domain amplification. Gojo had no choice but to engage in close quarters combat. Facts, Bev. His last two arguments are kind of weak, not going to lie. Teleportation is still kind of weak because we've seen it happen. Got you guys. All right. We'll end it here because I'm being summoned by my lady. But probably will be live tomorrow. Well, no. I want to work on my video tomorrow. We'll see. If I get a lot done tomorrow, then I might go live. But I might just use this nighttime to get out of here. But all right.